Na 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 na. Hey hey hey, Ronald Koeman.
Moonlit musings for sportsman vampires, factory shift workers,
Never mind hello, Chuck.
And men with prostate trouble. Morning, Andy.
What are you doing?
Make sure you stay awake for the radio show that never sucks. The Nosferatu Mics on Talk Sport.
Look at the light.
AM time on the breakfast show is different to the time here. This is space time. It's the middle of the night, if you see what I mean.
It's still AM though, isn't it?
Well, it's still AM, but it's AM, See what I mean?
I don't know.
It's earlier than AM. If aliens are listening out there, then please beam messages into my head.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes, and I'm delighted to say it's time to say a very, very good morning to Mr. Mike, a Porky, a Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
Yeah, very good morning, Mike. I mean, it's not a good morning,
It's
is
not,
it, if
is
you're
it
an
really?
Evertonian? But, you know, you have to take these things in your stride and get on with life. It's no good sitting here and, you know, moaning and bemoaning. Or
Crying
look at our
over
face.
spilt milk.
No, crying over spilt milk, all that kind of stuff.
I'm watching this, Ross Barkley foul from
Yes.
various angles
Yes.
now. I have to say, the first time I saw it, I
Yeah.
didn't think it was that bad, but
Yeah.
now that I'm watching it from different angles, it does look as if he was actually going for the guy.
Well, I don't think it was that bad, to be honest, because it wasn't halfway up his leg. To me, it looked as though he hit the pitch before he hit the foot of the boy.
But he's going for the guy's leg, isn't he?
Well, I'm not sure about that. He hit him with some venom and some
He did.
power. I totally agree. And
Somebody suggested earlier on Talk
yeah.
Sport, I don't know whether it's likely, that Henderson and he have a bit of a sort of antipathy
History.
towards each other, a bit of history,
Well-
and also don't like the fact that Henderson's sort of technically captain of England, whenever Wayne Rooney isn't. And
Yes,
he's
that's
not,
right.
of course, in the England squad.
Yeah, well, it might be something
Might
to do
be
with
something
that.
to do with that.
These players all carry grudges, don't they,
Yeah.
against other players. Remember Jack Charlton once revealed on, I think it was a chat show, I think it might have been with Michael Parkinson, the presence of a little black book. And this caused a huge storm. I don't know if you remember it, but, you know, the next morning the FA said, what do you mean that Jack Charlton's got a little black book? He said, yeah. He admitted on this chat show that whenever he finishes a game and somebody's been kicking him all the way through the game, writes him down in his little black book. And the next time he goes to play that team, he looks up, you know,
See if there's anyone in there.
Yeah, hang on, who are we playing today? Oh,
Yeah.
Liverpool. Oh, right, yeah, I'm going to get that bastard.
Well,
you know
I think,
what I mean?
I
And all
think
that
Roy
kind of stuff.
Keane didn't need a little black book. He just kept it all in his head.
Yeah, it was very funny because the only joke I've ever heard Jack Charlton tell, which had any humour in it whatsoever, is he's a very dour man. Have you ever met him?
No, I never met him. No.
Oh, I've had a lunch with him once. He's so dour,
Is he?
Jack, and
Yeah.
rather serious about things in life and incredibly mean. Whenever he...
You mean what, in terms of paying for things?
Oh, terrible. He used to go into pubs in
you
Ireland.
sure you should be revealing this?
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
He used to go to pubs in Ireland, when he's Irish manager, somewhere in Dublin, and he'd say, all right, lads, I'll get you all a drink, you know, and got them all a drink. Then he'd say to the barman at the end, he'd say, these drinks are on me. Then he'd say to the barman, right now, son, I better settle up with you. How much do I owe you? And barman said, oh, it's £18, 20p, Jack. Right, you'll take a cheque, will you? And he always gave him a cheque, and they never cashed the cheque. They always put the cheque in a frame, put it on the wall. Yeah, and he always knew that. But no, but the point of the story is, the only joke he ever told, was only humorous, was he was once asked by a football official, so you've got a little black book, have you? He said, aye. And who's in it? He said, Norman Hunter for the practice matches, because Norman Hunter, of course, is a Leeds player, played in the same team as him. And that was the only joke he ever told, which was even half funny.
No, indeed.
But it caused a scandal. But no, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure all players carry grudges about, a perceived slight or a wrongdoing against them from a previous
You'd have
player.
to say Ross Barkley launches himself at Henderson there with obviously no
Venom.
worry about whether he gets the ball or not.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's being generous.
Yeah. I suppose in the end he was quite lucky to be on the pitch at the end of the game. But there were one or two clashes before that. But anyway, Gary Neville before the game was very dismissive of Everton. Said that Everton wouldn't have a chance tonight. They haven't got the speed that Liverpool have got.
Haven't got the mobility. I think
haven't got the mobility. Haven't got as good of players as they've got. So
and you branded up Baloxios, I think. On
I
Twitter.
did. Yeah, I said it was Baloxios because anything can happen in a derby game where
I thought it was very dull first half. Actually,
I thought it was quite invigorating first half. I quite liked it.
No shots on target in the first half.
Yeah, but a lot of action and activity. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's gone now. Now you've just got to say to yourself, I mean, if we'd have got to the end with a draw, that would have been 4 points out of 6 against two title contenders. Accepted both at home at Goodison, but so it's 3 out of 6. So it's half the points from two teams who are going to definitely contest the top 3 places in the Premier League.
Now, I've got some good statistics for you. You know how you like statistics, right?
Yeah.
This is Liverpool's 4th Premier League win over Everton that has come via a winning goal in the 90th minute or later.
I know.
Isn't that dreadful?
You know the one they've been showing all day was the Gary McAllister one from the free kick. When it was a winner in the
2001 April.
Yeah, was it 2001, 2003, 2001? Was it? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, I was there.
Well, because it says the last three of these 90th minute winners have come at Goodison Park.
Yeah.
Lanier in December 2016, Kite in October 2007, and McAllister in April 2001.
Yeah, I was there when he took that free kick, and there was no way in the world it could have gone in. Everybody had got up and turned their backs and was heading for the lounges because it was so far out. We thought, it'll just sail over the bar or something like that. But somehow it crept in. Yes, well, these things are sent to try you.
Indeed.
But I've got strength, willpower, resolution.
Yeah.
I haven't
and
got a problem.
The Porky jinx is strong with you, as a lot of people have been pointing out on Twitter. Everton are now winless in their last 12 league meetings with Liverpool.
Yeah, I know that.
Very Americanism, that, isn't it?
Yes.
Their worst run in league competition against their rivals since a 13-game winless run between March 72 and April 78.
Yeah. Hey, listen, did you hear this? It says, this is on the same subject.
Oh, yeah.
Henderson was defending Barkley live on TV, claiming they're good mates, and Barkley went and apologised after the game. So your theory about them having a grudge match
not a theory,
against
I was
each other.
asking a question.
No, well, I now put that down.
Okay.
Think Liverpool should get a fine for their fans throwing a flare on the pitch? No, because it's just one of those things.
Oh, well, they shouldn't be able to get them into the ground, should they?
Eh?
Shouldn't be able to get them into the ground.
Shouldn't be able to get them into the ground, but I suppose you can put it in your pocket, can't you, really? Something like that.
Everton have only won one of their last 20 Premier League Merseyside derbies against Liverpool.
I know, it's shocking.
And did you see that somebody was holding up a banner, which I saw on Twitter, which was a happy 21st anniversary from Liverpool to Everton fans?
Oh, you mean for the 21 games we haven't won?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, well, it's a bit of football humour, I suppose.
Now here's one that will cheer you up. Gareth Barry's appearance in the game means that he is now outright second in the all-time Premier League appearance list behind Ryan Giggs.
Who is?
Gareth Barry.
He's only got 12 games to go to overtake...
610 against 632.
That's right, 10, 30, 22. He's got 22 games to overtake Ryan Giggs. That'll be incredible if he does that, because, of course, Ryan Giggs did it all with one club from the age of 17. Gareth Barry's been at a number of clubs, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
He's been at Villa.
Yes.
He's been at Everton.
Yes.
Been at City, isn't he?
He was
Manchester
at City,
City, yeah.
And a few others besides, I'm sure. Now, a quick birthday wish. Robert sent this in a bit earlier. He says, MG, could you please wish my son Finlay Duck a happy birthday, 14 years, and never misses a podcast. It would make his day on your show. Thanks.
Who's that, Finlay?
Finlay is his name.
Finlay, happy 14th, my boy.
Yeah.
And talking about podcasts and things, Roy Fish, I'm sure that can't be his real name.
Can't be.
But that's his name is on his Twitter handle. He says, I'm still recovering from Saturday's escapades at the garage.
Yeah.
But I'm staying up to hear Porky's Everton meltdown.
Yes.
At the Grudge.
Yes. Well, it's not going to be an Everton meltdown, is there? Because you've become a lot more calm, I think, over the years about Everton's results.
Well, it's not calm. It's that you have to face up to these things and get on with it. There's no good in... I did lie down in a darkened room, actually, after the game. I did, literally. I just went and thought,
Because, presumably at
20 minutes.
Minute 93, you thought, well, a point is worth having.
What?
Presumably
I did.
You convinced yourself that a point was a good result.
I did, definitely. I thought that would be 4 points out of 6, as I said to you, against those two leading teams in the Premier League. That would have been a turning point. But anyway, we just have to get on with it. There's no good dwelling on it. There's nothing you can do. You can't go back and get the points. You can't ask for the game to be played again.
I don't want you to dwell on it.
No, I'm not dwelling on it.
What are you looking forward to the next Everton game? Who's that against?
The next Everton game is against... it's on Boxing Day against Leicester. Yeah.
Okay.
Away
at
Leicester.
Well,
who are the Premier League champions?
They are.
They're not doing too well at the moment.
Well, they came back very well at the weekend, though.
Yeah, they did.
They were 2-0 down. They got a draw, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got lots to talk about.
Well, we're going to tell everybody about Glasgow next.
We're going to tell everybody about our trip to Glasgow.
About getting there in the first place.
Steve Nichol, nearly not getting there. Steve Nichol is going to be on, probably be quite happy with himself, having won the Merseyside derby.
Actually, Steve Nichol wasn't playing in the Merseyside derby tonight.
No, but he will feel as though he was.
Will he?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Because if he comes on, he will be very, very full of himself.
Think he might have been celebrating?
I think he might have been, and with good reason. Also, we'll be talking to Max Abrams coming up a little bit later on.
Who's he?
Professor of Political Science at Northeastern University, about terrorism, because we've got to talk about the assassination of the Russian ambassador in Turkey, plus this horrible business of a lorry crashing into a Christmas market in Germany as
don't
well.
like that.
No, this is Talk Sport.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Here she come now, say money. Shoot 'em down, turn around, come on, money. Hey, she give me love and I feel alright now. toss and turn and feel alright, and I feel alright. I say yeah, 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 'cause you make me feel.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Coming up a little bit later on in the show, Postman Pork, a special festive edition. We've had a lot of documentary evidence coming in the form of Christmas cards, in the form of well-wishing,
Yes.
lots of letters, lots of
Yes.
packages. So Mr. Parry will be opening those up a little bit later on. Ask Porky, of course, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Porky quiz on Thursday. And then we'll be back for a special Christmas Eve warm-up
Yes.
on Saturday.
Yes.
We weren't able to do that this Saturday because we were going to Glasgow, although little did we know, with the amount of delays and problems that we had,
Yeah.
we could have actually probably done the warm-up show and still managed to
Oh,
get
yeah,
up there
yeah.
had we known that was going to be quite so complicated.
That's absolutely right, because we got out to Heathrow and we got there 2 hours before the flight was due to go to see it delayed for 2 hours.
Yes.
So we decided to stay in Heathrow. Then it got put back till 8 p.m. at night.
Well,
Then
it was a very complicated thing,
well, then
wasn't
it came
'Cause-
back to 5 p.m.
Well, it just was all over the place because
Yeah.
what happened was at Paddington we realised that there was some bad fog.
Yeah.
Because I'd woken up in the morning, seen the fog on the river.
Yes.
Which there is quite often at this time of the year, and not really giving it any thought.
Yeah.
Because it didn't seem bad enough
I know.
to stop any planes from flying.
I know.
And actually, while we were at Terminal 5 at Heathrow, when I went outside, popped out outside for a cigarette, you could hear the planes taking off.
Yeah, you couldn't see 'em.
But the problem was you couldn't see them, yeah. But also they couldn't get the planes in from other parts of Britain for some reason. I still never quite understand how that happens. But you're quite right. We got out there believing it was going to go at 3.
Yes.
It then got pushed back till 4.
And then till 8.
And then it went to 8,
And then
8:30.
it came back to 5.
And we knew that 8:30 wouldn't be any good. Then it came back to 5.
Yeah.
And we were told categorically a couple of times by British Airways people, oh, don't worry, your plane will definitely go at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, at about, 1:15,
They cancelled it.
it disappeared off the board.
Yeah, just did.
We were sitting having a bit of lunch.
That's right.
And
yeah.
suddenly the flight just went.
Yeah, just went.
It
yeah,
didn't say
yeah.
cancelled, didn't say anything, it just didn't go anywhere.
Just didn't go.
And so,
So
we
then
then made an executive decision, right?
Yeah, Heathrow Express back into town.
Yeah.
Euston just about got the train. What time was the train?
2:30.
2:30 to Glasgow.
Yeah.
And as you quite rightly say, we could have actually done a warm-up show. We thought we were flying before, at half an hour later. But anyway.
Well, it's not the time of a train that you would have wanted to
No,
get
no,
to
it's
do a
not.
show because the doors opened at 7.
Yes.
This train gets into Glasgow Central at 7:01.
7:01, and we got round to the sort of the venue at about 20 to 8.
Yeah.
And
Well, I went straight there. You guys
Yeah.
went to the hotel.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And I literally was just getting changed in the change room of the garage. I suppose
right.
is what it's for.
That's right, yeah.
So I never saw the hotel room until I got back there at about 3 in the morning. Or
That's
something.
right, yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So it was quite a torturous journey. but-
tortuous journey, but I want to say thank you to everybody who was there. And we had a fantastic response afterwards. Never had so many sort of personal messages afterwards saying how much people enjoyed the show. So thank you very much indeed.
Yes.
I did enter the stage in a kilt. Not that I was in any way trying to patronise the Scottish people, but I thought as it's Christmas, I should give you a rendition of Porky, Where's Your Trousers?
Which has been recorded for posterity.
And is now on our Two Mics TV
It's
on
Two Mics
YouTube.
TV. In fact, I did put a link out last night, but
Yes.
I'll put another link out even as we speak
Indeed.
on Two Mike's Twitter. So
That's
that you
right.
can go and have a look at it.
Yeah, good.
Because it actually looks quite good, I must say.
Well, it's quite
Surprisingly.
colourful. Whose recording was it? Do we know?
Well, it was made by our very fair staff.
Oh, was it? Okay,
Yeah.
fine. I thought somebody in the audience had
No,
done
no,
it.
no.
It was somebody.
No, it was done on our device.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's
By-
good.
by-
On our device.
Yeah, it was done on
so-
our device.
Is that the young man Brian who had the
No,
device?
it was by him actually.
Oh, okay, Emma. Right, well done. That's
She
good.
filmed it, yeah.
Excellent.
So we've got a few other bits and pieces of video that we can put out
Yes.
over the course of time. But yeah, it was
Yes.
a very good night was had by all.
Yes.
So thank you all for coming. And of course, we don't know what we're doing next year regarding live shows. But
No.
as soon as we know, we'll tell you.
Our ambition is to do at least one in New York and one in Sydney in Australia at the Sydney Opera
At the
House.
Sydney Opera House.
And in New York, we're thinking about Carnegie Hall or maybe even the Garden, Madison Square. Which
Why?
Well, they all have smaller venues.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't think we'll fill Madison Square Garden with
it's not like
12,000 people.
we're not going to try and beat Coldplay's record of 7 nights there.
No, that's right. And
No.
we don't think the Carnegie Hall will fill up with, like whatever it is, 8,000 people or something like that. But we will, you never know. Maybe people will come from all over the States to be there. Anyway,
Yes.
it's great to be in Scotland again. I came back on the train on Sunday morning. I have to say, it's one of the most beautiful train journeys in this country. It comes through the Lake District. and it's quite spectacular.
You did miss out on a very nice lunch at the Ubiquitous Chip, though, which was... and funnily enough, I was sitting there, and a guy came and tapped me on the shoulder with his very nice girlfriend and said, "Oh, mate, do you mind if I have a picture?"
Yes.
And do you know what he'd done?
No.
He'd heard us talking about the fact that we were going to go to the Ubiquitous Chip on Sunday for lunch.
Right.
And he'd come in to get a picture.
Blimey,
He'd come all the way in from outside of Glasgow
Really?
to get a picture, which was very nice.
Very
And,
nice of him. Thank you
so
very
that
much.
was good. But yeah, it was fantastic. It was as good as I remembered it.
Was it?
I had a venison haggis to start with. With
Not sure.
why are you making a face?
Well, I'm not sure I like venison haggis. I quite like haggis, but only if it's made of like beef,
No, well, venison haggis was tremendous.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. And I had a steak au poivre for a main course.
Very nice. That's
which
good.
was very nice.
Yeah.
And some very nice vino to accompany it.
Yeah, good. That's
And
great.
fortunately, even at that stage, they
Yeah.
were cancelling planes. I didn't know if we were going to come back on the plane or the train.
Yes.
Eventually, by sort of 4 o'clock, it became clear that the planes were going.
Yeah.
And the plane wasn't even full.
Yeah.
You know.
Surprising that, considering all the planes had been cancelled.
And when
all
we
day.
got to Glasgow Airport, Glasgow Airport wasn't very busy either.
No, well, I think people just stay away in those sort of circumstances, don't they?
Yeah.
There are more train strikes this week. There are, yeah.
I think there's train strikes, there's
Yeah.
plane strikes.
Yeah,
I think
it's-
there's meant to be a couple of wildcat postal strikes. So,
It's becoming clear that this is a political movement now.
Yeah.
There were reports in the Sunday papers of one particular union boss saying we want to bring down the Tory government because they're anti-union.
Right.
So it's very, very political. So what I think will happen is, being a bit of a professor of political science, is I think that Mrs May, the Prime Minister, will have to assess the situation in January. Then I think she's always said that she was not going to call a general election because she thought it would be taking political advantage.
but I don't think the unions are powerful enough to cause an election, are they?
No, I think she can use them. I think they're giving her a great excuse to go to have a general election, whilst the opposition are so weak in numbers at the moment in terms of popularity because of the extremism of Mr Corbyn's views, which don't seem to excite a lot of the country. She's always said it would be political opportunism for me to go to the country now and gain myself a big majority in the House of Commons. However, the unions are playing into her hands, because they're now trying to destabilise the country and bring the country to grind it to a halt.
Right.
She then has got to respond to this and probably will say, well, in that case, I've got no choice. I'm going to have to go to the country, and the general public can decide who's running the country.
And it may well be a better reason for her to go to the country than to make it happen about Brexit, which it will be about if it goes for another 3 or 4 years.
And then what I think will happen is she'll get a big majority. She'll come back, and then she'll introduce new rules to curb the activities of the union. The one issue which no politicians addressed since 1906 is that trade unions are exempt from damages to people to whom they cause problems with their strikes. Okay,
right.
What I'm saying is that they are never liable to damages. So, for instance, everybody at the moment who can't get to work, who's losing their jobs and all that.
Right.
If there wasn't this immunity for unions, they'd be able to sue the unions
And say
if
that
they
you-
could prove in court. If they could prove in court that the union behaviour had been unreasonable.
Because certainly there'll be people who won't be able, not only not be able to get to work, but because they haven't been able to get to work, won't be paid.
That's right, absolutely. And the unions are immune at the moment from damages. What is being urged upon the ruling government is to review that so that it will give the unions a greater incentive to make sure that if they're taking industrial action, it's justified. Because a lot of people at the moment are saying, well, it's not really justified.
No.
Because the other day, for instance, down in Stockbroker Belt, Surrey, all the trains that I wanted to get to Victoria Station were called off, and it was because of the dispute at the moment about conductors not being on trains.
Right.
However...
And you had to take a cab in, didn't you?
I had to take a cab in one day, but another day I went down to the station to see what was going on.
Yeah.
There was another railway company running through that station that stopped and took me to Blackfriars,
Right.
another station in London,
Oh, okay.
who actually run trains without conductors.
Yes.
And have been doing so for the last 3 years.
As are most companies, in fact.
Exactly. So in that case, if I, lost money and all that, I might want to take the case to court and say, well, hang on,
Yeah.
I got a train without conductors, which got me into London perfectly safely.
Yeah.
Therefore, I might say that I regard the activity of the people on the trains that I wanted to get, which didn't run because they wouldn't work, as being unreasonable.
Yes.
And it's that sort of thing that,
Sure.
that is the issue at the moment.
There's no consistency at all. I was watching Diane Abbott being interviewed
Yes.
on Sunday morning on Sky.
Yes.
Great socialist stalwart that she is.
Yes.
She was first of all asked about her now appointment to the Privy Council.
Yes.
Whether she would actually do
Is
the...
it elitist?
Because apparently some years ago she had come out very firmly in favour
That's
of
right.
republicanism and
That's
said that
right,
she
yeah.
wasn't in favour of the royal family at
That's
all.
right, yeah.
And so they asked her whether she would be pledging allegiance and
to the Queen,
and obedience and all that, and whether she'd get down on one knee. And she's like, well, as you know, it's very private what goes on in the Privy Council.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't really feel like I should talk about that. And then they said, well, what about the fact that you're a Republican? And she said, well, if you're referring to something I said 30 years ago, then obviously, I could have a different view now. So, they're all the same, these people, So she's now more than happy to take the King's shilling or the Queen's shilling and go down on bended knee.
Yeah.
And be very, very happy about it.
Well, Lord Kinnock, whose whole family have made themselves multimillionaires through working in public service for Europe, right, once said that the House of Lords was full of brigands and thieves
he wasn't wrong.
rogues.
He wasn't wrong.
No, but he's now joined them. Of course he has.
So the other great one I heard over the weekend, talking about the Labour Party, was that Jeremy Corbyn has said more about the death of Fidel Castro than he has about Brexit.
I know, it's interesting, isn't it? And he went to some meeting apparently on Thursday or Friday where, the moderate Labour MPs started singing Things Can Only Get Better, which of course was Tony Blair's theme tune when he first came to power, and then actually started chanting, Tony, Tony, Tony. So Mr. Corbyn left.
Yes.
Because his name's not Tony.
No, it's not. Absolutely bizarre. Very bizarre indeed. Now, we've got more to tell you about the Glasgow show. We've got more to tell you about the weekend business that we got up to as well. And, of course, we've got Steve Nichol
Sorry, what
coming
business
up.
was that?
The weekend business. There's more stories from Glasgow to tell.
Well, there's a few, but that's the same one.
Well, that's not the same one.
You said Glasgow on the weekend business.
The weekend business. Well, we did other things, didn't we?
Did we?
Yeah.
Did you?
Well, of course we did.
Oh,
well, what did you do on Friday, for example?
Oh, Friday. Well, is that the weekend?
Yeah, Friday's the weekend.
Friday I was doing Christmas shopping.
Right, well, I want to hear about that.
Okay.
And I'll be telling you what I did on Friday.
I'll tell you what's happened, by the way.
Go on.
An explosion of people have bought the DVD.
Is that right?
To Mike's.
Well, I'm hoping to get it in before Christmas.
They're hoping to get it in Christmas. You can still get it in before Christmas, by the way. The local post office that deals with them is not subject to industrial action.
Yeah.
I actually know that because I made a site visit. I went there to see them.
Yes.
And told them they were great people.
Thomas and Dave say this. Is the banner about the 21 years was for the last time Everton won a trophy.
Yes.
Not for the last time they beat Liverpool.
Well, that's true. We won the FA Cup in 1995. I'm very proud of that. I was there.
Yeah. 21 years ago.
Yeah, it was great. I saw Duncan Ferguson get on the bus as he left from the old Wembley balcony, and the FA Cup was on the table in the middle of the coach, and the coach just glided away. It was brilliant. I've got pictures of it.
Have you?
Yes.
Oh, I'd like to see those.
Yes.
You must bring them in.
Yes.
This is Talk Sport. Talk Sport, we are the two Mikes. Steve Nichol coming up in a little while. Robbie says this, Porky's overreacting after another derby defeat. You think he was playing in the game. Cheer up, Porky. He says you're with MG now. And James says, 2 years ago, Mike Parry predicted they would be a title-winning team and Barkley would be a superstar. Mm-hmm. But, I mean,
Well, I think Barkley still will be a superstar. He gets exactly that. That was the Straubs, by the way, that song.
That was
you know
the Straubs,
that?
yes. I remember the Straubs
Don't
very
get
well.
me, I'm part of the union.
In fact, I used to have that single, would you believe?
Yeah, I didn't think I had it, but it used to play in our common room at
I've got a feeling
school.
I might have even seen them live at some point.
The Straubs?
Yeah.
I couldn't work out... That song, by the way, You Don't Get Me, I'm Part of the Union, I couldn't work out whether it was a pro-union or union protest song.
No, it was pro-union.
Are you sure?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
You Don't Get Me, I'm Part of the Union. I thought it was...
You don't get me, I'm part of the union. It means that you can't get me, you can't sack me.
Yeah, but I thought...
You can't get rid of me.
Because there was a lot of union activity in Britain at the time, I thought it was a Mickey take on the whole political system, you know.
Oh, no, I don't think
all
so.
you've got to do to be safe in this country is join a union.
No, I don't think they were in any way Thatcherite, the Straubs.
Yeah.
Let's talk to Heath, who's a Liverpool fan, from Tony Pandy. Heath, a very good morning to you.
I got to be honest with you, don't you watch the game in the club?
You watched it in the club?
Yeah, there's about 30 of us watched the Liverpool game, and we enjoyed the game.
I'm sure. Did you expect a draw, though? You thought it was going to be a draw?
No, I got to be honest with you, I was expecting a Liverpool win because I bet on Liverpool.
Did you?
Did you?
Yes.
You're a betting man, are you?
Liverpool fan.
Yes.
I'm a Welsh guy.
Mm-hmm.
And we always bet on Wales.
Do you bet on the result, or do you bet on the goals or something?
No, we bet 1-0. We had it.
You had 1-0?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Did you?
What did you get for that?
We had 15 to 2.
15 to 2. Not bad. Well done.
Yeah, that was very good indeed. Well done, my son.
Now let me ask you a quick question, Heath. since we got you on, what do you think of the the fine that has been handed out to Wales, even though they said that they wouldn't put the poppy on the shirt?
I find it absolutely disgusting. The only thing I will say is I wish Wales wore the poppy on their sleeve. They wore a black glove, the black armband.
Yeah. Black armband.
I don't think. Do you know what I mean? Should never have been. Do you know what I mean? For Wales, Ireland, Scotland, and everything. At the end of the day, it wasn't a protest.
Right. Yeah. No, of course not. Well, FIFA wouldn't exist, and Switzerland would have been obliterated. So, I think they ought to have a bit more respect. But that's another story. Let's talk to Frank. Heath, thank you very much indeed. Frank, very good morning to you.
Good evening, boys. You know what, Mike and Mike, you two boys are absolutely like the two old men on the old Muppet Show on the balcony, mate.
Yeah. Well, apart from you sound older than we do, Frank, to be honest.
No. Listen, Mike, I know you're a mad Everton fan. Don't you think tonight, the Everton tactics tonight, you think they should have gone a little bit more attacking?
Well, I thought they were in the first half. I thought we showed spirit and I thought we showed determination to get there. And I think the plan is slowly coming together. I mean, you can't get maudlin about these things, you know. It's a game of football. It lasts 90 minutes.
94 minutes in this case.
98 minutes, actually, in this case. And we will have another chance at another 90 minutes of football on Boxing Day. And, I hope that we improve as each game comes by.
Yeah, Mike, the other thing I want to talk about is that the idiot that threw that flare on the pitch.
Yes.
I don't understand this, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, all of a sudden, there's been a little bit more than, there's been certain incidents in some matches.
Yes.
Obviously what's been going on at West Ham.
There are a few brainless people about, unfortunately, Frank. That's the problem.
I know, and I just thought tonight, the atmosphere was great. It was, I know, I'm glad that we won the game, but all I can say is one thing, you've got a great manager there, Ronnie Koeman.
Yeah.
I think he's done a fantastic job. I think the way you guys are playing,
yes.
I think, you know what, I think you're going up, mate. And it's lovely, obviously a Liverpool fan, it is a derby, but I also like to thank the Everton fans and the Everton Football Club for all the support they're giving to, when they had the 96 Hillsborough disaster.
Yes, justice for the 96 has always been something that Everton as a club and the fans, myself included, have been very supportive of, and delighted to see that justice in the end was arrived at.
Indeed. Frank, listen, thank you very much indeed. How about this one from Freddie, who's tweeting out? He didn't see any PK shouts in the Scouts derby. Maybe right, Barber's saving them up for the Liberty on BD. Yeah. Hopefully at the right end.
Yeah, it was a PK! yeah.
I couldn't believe when we were actually travelling up on the train to Scotland, and all the results were coming in. Obviously, we were following it all on Twitter.
That's right.
And watching bits of it here and there. That he actually used that word.
Well, I thought it was a joke.
PK.
Because we very, very, in a very friendly manner, very warm, compassionate manner, we illustrate Bobcat Bob's American accent, radar, push the envelope. Somebody said he said PK after the game, i.e. penalty kick. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, since then, it has been confirmed he actually did say that.
No, he did. Well, he's also, I mean, I watched the match of the day once again over the course of the weekend because we missed it live because we were out.
Yes.
And he says, and then he sort of says PK penalty. So he kind of corrects himself immediately.
Indeed.
Sean says this, Heath from Tony Pandy is the Welsh version of 50 Cent. He watched the game in the club.
Yeah, in the club, man. Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Excellent.
And David says the straw was part of the union, mocks both sides. I don't think that's right.
Yeah, I think it was.
I
think it was because at that age, at whatever age it was, as a teenager.
I don't believe that. I believe that.
I was big into political debate.
Yeah, but it became a massive kind of, socialist sort of Labour Party
anthem,
thing.
An anthem for the...
It wasn't mocking them at all.
You don't get me, I'm part of the union. I thought it was a kind of, I'm with the union, mate, so I'm untouchable.
Yeah.
I thought there was a bit of that about it, you know what I mean?
I don't think there was that much irony around in those days, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Kai says this, don't forget to keep us updated on tonight's NFL game, the Carolina Panthers against the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, we're not having it on in the studio.
So we will indeed keep you updated on that.
I don't think
as much as we can. I think it's only just got underway, and I don't think there's any score yet, but I shall correct that if I'm indeed wrong.
Okay.
Now, as far as Steve Nichol is concerned, we've not spoken to him for quite a long time.
We haven't spoken to him for a long time.
He's
How is
coming
it?
Up, well, I don't know. You'll find you'll be able to ask him yourself. 'Cause
Right.
He's coming up after a very short period of time.
What do you think about Zsa Zsa Gabor's death?
What do I think about it?
Yeah, she's 99.
Well, the thing about Zsa Zsa Gabor was that she was married 9 times.
Nine
That's what
times,
she's sort of
that's right,
famous
yeah.
for.
Yes.
And I've just seen the score. Actually, it's 3-0 to Carolina.
Yeah, nobody cares. Don't
Yeah,
worry
they do.
about it, honestly.
She's one of those iconic figures,
Yes.
isn't she? That a lot of people, I would imagine, who are under the age of 30
Yes.
would never have really heard of.
Say again?
I don't think people under 30 would really have heard of Zsa
Well,
Zsa
the last time
Gabor.
she was in the public eye was about 20 years ago. She wept in court after she was accused of assaulting
Slapping a police officer, right?
a police outrider.
Yeah.
He was a motorbike.
Yeah, was he trying to give her a parking ticket? or
Trying to get
something?
her parking ticket or something. She said, you whacked me, and then she
Yeah.
cried and all that.
Right.
But I mean, she was actually. I don't think the modern day equivalent of Zsa Zsa Gabor is Kim Kardashian. She was famous for
Yeah.
being famous.
Well, no, she was an actress as well.
Well, she was a bit of an actress. I mean, she was a Hungarian beauty queen
She was.
who started marrying rich men in America and then became a Hollywood, quote, star, unquote.
Wasn't she the one that came out with the most famous quote, I believe, was when one of her husbands had said something to her like, darling, will you love me if we get divorced? Will you still love me? And she said something, oh, no, sorry, no, would you still love me if I didn't have any money?
Yes.
And to which she said, yes, darling, I would love you, but I would miss you.
Yes, that's right.
Because
Yeah.
she was only interested in men with money.
Well, I think the most famous quote was, "I am a great housekeeper. Every time I leave a husband, I keep the house."
Yes, that's a very good one as well.
Those were all hers, And all I want in a man is to be warm and compassionate. Is that too much to ask of a millionaire?
Yes.
I mean, she's very good like that. She's
was.
a real sort of vamp and
Here's a few more. I never hated a man enough to give him his diamonds back.
No, exactly. That's right. Yeah, all those kind of things. On other women, being jealous of a beautiful woman is not going to make you more beautiful. Yeah.
How about this one? I want a man who's kind and understanding. You've done that one. Getting divorced just because you don't love a man is almost as silly as getting married just because you do.
That's right. And a girl must marry for love, and she must keep on marrying until she finds love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she says, I know nothing about sex because I was always married.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. I always said marriage should be a 50-50 proposition. He should be at least 50 years old and have at least $50 million. Yeah.
It's quite good, really.
Yeah,
isn't
it was. Yeah, very good indeed. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as much as
Yeah.
she was one of those iconic figures, she was 90, right, when she died?
90, that's right. Oh, by
99.
the way, 99. On the way in tonight, that funeral parlour that I studiously avoid all the time.
Well, except you keep driving past it.
Well, I do occasionally when I forget that I should avoid
Right.
it, if you see what I mean.
Right.
Some nights,
Well,
if
you
I-
just kind of doesn't... It's
Well,
not on your
I-
radar, you mean?
I might be coming from a different direction or something
Yeah.
like that. But anyway, I passed it tonight. You won't believe it's got a really big Christmas tree over the entrance with flashing lights. Yeah.
Flashing lights.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, how on earth?
That
can
is a bit incongruous.
a funeral parlour where everybody inside is
Season's greetings.
Yeah, exactly. Where everybody inside is like stiff and dead, and all these, and then it's welcome to the
Yeah.
funeral parlour.
Don't forget a gift.
Yeah, come and see your dead relatives. It's Christmas.
Yeah, it does seem a bit weird, that.
Yeah, very weird indeed. Yeah.
But isn't that because now there are Christmas trees everywhere? I
Well,
mean, everybody now
yeah,
has to have a
yeah,
Christmas
I
tree.
suppose so,
Otherwise, it's not you're not doing the right thing.
No, that's absolutely right. Yeah,
Yeah, I
God,
think it's a
blimey.
bit creepy.
No, I think that's very weird
It's a
indeed.
bit like putting one outside a police station as well. I mean, why would they want to put one up?
Well, I don't know. They always do, I think. Just keep people happy, keep the drunks happy.
Yeah.
Plenty of drunks around at Christmas, by the way.
They certainly
Yeah,
are.
by the way, I'm reading all these things about, all the help agencies now are out in force at night, helping, young people to get over their intense bladderation. Well, if they're intensely bladdered, they should be arrested for being drunk and disorderly. Shouldn't be putting them into tents on college greens and telling them, you've got 2 hours recovery time.
No.
Arrest them.
Arrest them, yeah. Have you ever been arrested for being drunk and disorderly?
No.
Neither have I.
But a
Extraordinarily.
colleague of ours once didn't turn up for work the following morning, and he'd been arrested the night before for being drunk and disorderly. and the law in those days was, it was in Bow Street, Bow Street, Nick.
Bow Street
you
Mags.
You had to stay and have their breakfast
Yeah.
before they'd let you out.
Right.
Yeah, which is
well,
what
I
he
think
did.
that was the thing, lock you up for your own safety.
Yeah, that's right,
Now,
yeah.
coming up, we'll be talking to a very happy Steve Nichol, I'm sure, after the Liverpool
You better
win,
not get too happy
last
with
night.
me, Steve, if you're listening.
This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Money, 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 must be funny in the rich man's world. Money, 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 always sunny in the rich man's world.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Postman Pork coming up a little bit later on, of course. Jamie says this. Porky, if you're disappointed losing the derby, then try being a Birmingham fan, losing Rowett, getting Zola and losing to Brighton.
Yeah,
Hashtag
that's a weird
poor
one,
week.
that.
Not very good for them, indeed. But I'll tell you one man who will be very, very happy, and that, of course, is Steve Nichol, a former Liverpool player himself, and will count himself on the winning side, of course, from last night. Steve, very good morning to you.
Hello there. How are you doing, Porky? Having a nice evening?
Well, it was better before you came on the other end of this line, but apart from that, yes, thank you, because I'm pragmatic about these things, and I know that, you know, one game comes and goes, another takes its place, and you can't dwell on these things.
I'll tell you what, such a positive attitude.
Thank you.
He's been very much more serene in the last few weeks. I don't know what's happened to him, Steve, but I mean, he takes these things now much more kind of positively than he ever has.
Well, he's getting used to it, isn't he?
No, I'm not getting used to it, and I won't have all these cracks
One
about...
win in 20 in the derby.
Well, that's only against Liverpool, which is a perverse sort of situation, really. It's not a real game. It's controlled by all sorts of extraneous factors, and therefore doesn't fall into the category of a normal fixture. Okay, got that? Good.
I'll tell you what, I've heard some nonsense out of you, but that takes the biscuit.
Well, I mean, do you think Liverpool played well enough tonight to be serious title contenders?
Absolutely.
Do you?
Well, they got the 3 points, which is what keeps them up there,
in the 94th minute they did,
exactly. And the second place in the Premier League. You know, let's be honest, everybody's waxing lyrical about Chelsea, how great they are, and the truth is that they haven't been at the best the last couple of weeks, but they've got results.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to say Liverpool went at the best tonight, then that's fine. But they got results. And by the way, they deserve to win as well.
Yeah, but not one shot on target in the first half. How can that team claim to be a title contender?
Well, it's a strange thing. There are two halves to every game.
Yes, that's true.
And I've got to give Everton credit. First half, they harried and chased and closed down. And they kicked and punched, but the second half, quality came through in the end, and really it should have been more than one goal. Let's be honest.
No, I don't think it should. I think that's about right.
Isn't it ironic that you're telling me that Liverpool never had a shot at goal in the first half?
Yes.
Everton had one measly, slimy header that barely reached Mignolet in the whole 90 minutes. And you've got a cheek to have a go at Liverpool.
Well, you were blowing the trumpet for Liverpool, saying they're title contenders. I'm saying that's not the sort of form that a title contending team should attain to. It should be much better.
Oh, so everybody's got to be Brazil of 1970.
Well, yeah, if you like, you do it in the Premier League. Why not? I mean, do you think you're going to match up to Chelsea?
That's not how you win titles. You don't win titles.
No, you win titles
by Brazil every time you step on the field. You win titles by exerting your pressure on the opposition, home or away, and getting the job done, creating chances, and eventually scoring a goal.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Liverpool did. That's exactly what title challengers do.
Yeah, OK. Well, you may say that, but I mean, you've got some really, really good teams to play this season who are going to, take you to task. And Chelsea, of course, being one of them. Now, 6 points behind Chelsea. You're not going to make that up.
Surely the point is all you've got to do is play better than the team you're playing. As Steve said,
whether
it's 1-0 or 5-0, it doesn't matter.
Only an Evertonian, after losing the derby, could start singing the praises of Chelsea.
Well, I'm sorry, mate, but I mean, you've got to be realistic about what's going on in the world of football. You live in your bubble, somewhere overseas, where you look in from the outside and think you know it all. But I can tell you, mate, I'm nearer to the grain and the grit and the day-to-day atmosphere of football.
The blood and the blood and all that.
Blood and the blood and the beer. That's right. Yeah.
Do you know what surprised me actually after the game? Ronald Koeman came out and said they didn't deserve to lose.
Yep.
How can you turn round and think your supporters are going to swallow that? Listen, your previous manager was the best at turning an absolute disaster into what should have been complete and utter hysteria in Martinez.
Yeah,
and Koeman comes out and says we didn't deserve to lose the game after having at home one measly header on goal.
Well, yeah, but also...
What do you think was wrong with Everton's tactics then? Because another caller asked us that. Do you not think they should have been a bit more positive? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think it's getting to do with tactics. Everton's just not that great. You know, they couldn't get any sort of momentum going forward because they were being out harried. You know, Everton tried to make this into a real derby that was all guts and fluster and running around. But then when the game settled down, as it always does, the better team was Liverpool. And that's just a fact. You can't argue that, surely.
Well, I think Mr. Coombe might have been relating to the fact that 94 minutes into the game, we weren't losing, you know. It's a very cruel way to lose, isn't it, with a few extra time minutes to go. And it turns... Well, it's not just a defeat, it's a stake through the heart.
It's a dagger.
That's all I would say. A dagger.
I mean, Porky did say he had to go and lie down in a dark room.
I did, yeah.
After the result, after the game was over, but which surprised me because I thought he was already lying in the dark room watching it.
That's right.
Do you know what? It's amazing, isn't it, Porky, if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
What is Everton? Everybody said last year that Martinez didn't get enough out of the squad.
Yeah.
They were better than where they ended up being.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw tonight an Everton team that just wasn't very good. There was no real identity, you know, other than being underdogs and trying really hard.
Yeah.
They didn't have any identity. They didn't get forward. They didn't create anything. I mean, what? If you're an Everton fan, so what are you grasping onto that's really positive out of this performance?
I'm not grasping onto anything. I mean, the point is, you know, Everton were up for it. I thought McCarthy was very good. The evening was ended for him by injury.
He had to go off, didn't he?
Yeah,
Do you think that made a difference?
Shame. Yeah, I think it did make a difference. Yeah. I thought Gay was very good.
Do you know what?
In the middle as well.
If Barcelona lose Messi, I can understand saying, well, we lost Messi. But if you're clinging on to you lost McCarthy, then you're in a bit of a hole, aren't you?
Not really, no, because he was an integral part of the team tonight, and it did make a difference when he went off. Everton have got some really good players like Coleman and like Baines and McCarthy and Gay, and it's just Mr. Koeman's job to pull them all together and see how he can get the best out of them, you know.
But everyone thought after the Arsenal story
yes.
That it would have been a better performance against Liverpool. He thought that would have buoyed
Why
them
do
up.
people think that?
Well, because they thought that Everton had finally found some way to make themselves
It wasn't
click.
a poor performance against Liverpool. It was a difference of one goal in the 94th minute of the game. So it wasn't by any means a disaster. We didn't get gubbed 3-0 or anything like that. So...
No, but what I'm saying is it didn't appear to be a particularly positive performance in the sense that they went out there to win the game.
Mr. Koeman had to play it the way he thought it would best benefit Everton. It nearly worked, but it didn't. So obviously he fell at the final.
Steve, what did you make of the Barkley tackle? And some people say he was lucky to get away with a yellow card.
Oh, this is 100% red card. Listen, Funes Mori made the same challenge on Origi last season and got sent off, rightly so.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between this challenge? I mean, listen, Henderson is just lucky that he actually didn't come out any worse than he actually did because it was a horrendous challenge. It should have been down to 10 men. And I thought, actually, going back to Everton, this was a chance for Barkley to make a statement about a guy who has got so much potential. There's no doubting that he's got talent, but why can he not show it? Because he didn't show it tonight.
Well, he made a statement tonight, but it wasn't quite the statement everybody expected, and it was a statement on an ankle rather than.
Is that not down to
the
manager though? Is that not down to Koeman to get it out?
Well, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why the manager's view of how Ross Barkley should play and Ross Barkley's innate talent not being able to manifest itself during a game of football. I don't know. I'm not a professional footballer. We hope it'll all work out. But thank you for coming on gloating, Steve, because, it's always good to...
Well, do you want to get rid of Steve?
No, I don't want to get rid of Steve. No.
You've got some more time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean,
doesn't have to go
what would
yet.
you like to talk about now? Should we talk about something else? Let's talk
Do you want to talk about anything else, Steve? Or do you want to keep gloating about Liverpool?
Well, it's...
How are the book sales going?
Aye, the book's going fantastic, yeah.
Really?
Everybody's loving it. Good stories, some good insight, some sense, some common sense, and some real old school stories.
Is it on sale? Fantastic. Is it on sale in this country, Steve?
It is, yeah. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at sportmedia.com.
Yeah, he was over here. He was over here launching it. He was supposed to come on the show, but unfortunately we were doing a different show at the time.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
And I think you went on the sports breakfast, didn't you, in the end?
I didn't make the sports breakfast. No, unfortunately, I was only over for 3 or 4 days, but it went really well. And
excellent, good.
I'm sure Evertonians would enjoy it as well.
Yeah, well, I'll make sure I buy a couple of copies, and Well, I don't know what I'll do with them. Maybe support the table if it's got a wonky leg on Christmas Day or something like
Tell
that.
you what,
You know?
if it's a really cold night, you can even light the fire with it. I'm really not bothered as long as you buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
that's right.
That's very much
as
the
long
way
as you get
forward.
the royalties, that's all right. Yeah.
Well,
I totally
Porky's
agree.
Wayne, you get Porky's Wayne Rooney book for a penny on Amazon. You can get 100 of them to set fire to if you want for a pound.
It's been out for 10 years, mate. You know, all the sales were years and years ago, and I now make it available to those who want to be historical researchers of the football profession and industry and story. Okay?
Do you know, it's amazing. It's amazing how you can change a conversation off. Actually, what really hurts you most, and that's losing a derby.
No. I'm as I said, I'm pragmatic about it.
having
get
known
on with life.
having known Mr. Perry for as long as I have,
Yes.
I can tell he's really hurting at the moment. And so, in a way, you're being terribly cruel, Steve.
I thought you'd be.
You know what? I'll give us some credit, because if we had lost today, I'd have felt as bad as he does right now, and I would have tried to.
You wouldn't have come on.
Well, so.
No, if you'd lost, you wouldn't have come on.
Yeah.
No, see, that's not true at all.
See, I thought you'd come on to talk.
I was brought up better than that.
Yeah, I thought you'd come on to talk.
I was brought up in the Liverpool way, where you face your problems. You don't try and change the subject and move it off somewhere else.
I always face up to my problems. I thought you'd come on tonight to talk about England scoring. Having 759 runs scored against them in the cricket Test match against India.
He's Scottish. Why would he care about that?
Well, but I thought he should. I thought he should broaden his knowledge of sport.
Isn't it amazing? The best England captain ever was a Scotsman, Mike Denness.
Mike Denness, yeah, was he? I didn't know that.
The best English captain ever,
Really?
Mike Denness.
Really, I didn't
and
know
he's a
that.
Scotsman.
Yeah.
All right. Even England can't even get their own. They've got to get ours.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Now, let's go back to Liverpool for a moment, because although Liverpool's still in touch with Chelsea, it's still 6 points behind, basically. Is it going to come down to the Liverpool-Chelsea, 2 games, as it were? They'll only get another 3 points out of those, can't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chelsea obviously are in the driving seat. They're probably the most settled side in the country and in the league. But it may come down to the cliches of if Diego Costa stays fit or stays on the field, because without Costa you wonder where the goals are coming from. I'm not sure Batshuayi's up to it if something happens to Costa.
No, and they are winning a lot of 1-0s, aren't they?
Yeah, and a lot of that is down to Costa.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just a fantastic centre forward, but it's also down to the back line. And when you've got a back line that's so solid, doesn't give anything away, then you've always got a chance.
Sure.
I mean, I shouldn't say Costa only. You got other weapons. Hazard and Villian, and actually to be able to bring on a substitute with the quality of Fabregas, that's a great.
And he's playing brilliantly this season as well. But Steve, we've got to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for joining us,
Steve. Always good to hear from you.
Steve Nichol, the former Liverpool player, of course. His book is out. You can get it on Amazon.
What's it called?
I can't remember actually. Mark Donaldson wrote it for him, or co-wrote it with him.
Well, you can't remember what it was called.
I can't remember what it's called. No.
So you're floating the book on TalkSport and telling people to buy it, and you can't remember.
I asked him how he thought how the book sales were going.
That's right.
I can't remember the name of it.
You can't remember that. Yeah. So it's a book.
It's a Steve. Well, just look it up. Steve
Starring
Nichol.
Steve
He's only
Nichol.
written one. You'll find it. This is TalkSport. This is TalkSport. We are the Two Mics. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on. Ask Porky tomorrow, of course, and the Porky quiz coming up at the end of the week on Thursday going into Friday. And then we're back.
Absolutely right.
Of course, on Saturday for a 3-hour show.
Yes.
On Saturday because there's no football on Christmas Eve.
That's right.
Looking ahead to all the action on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
And also maybe that will be our kind of pre-Christmas special show, won't it?
And that is, of course, on Christmas Eve itself, isn't it? And
11 o'clock in the morning it starts.
Yeah, it will be. You're absolutely right. It'll be
and then I'll have to rush
show.
back. I thought what we might do, because on our Christmas Eve show normally, we track Santa. So I might be able to track Santa during that show.
Oh, really?
As he comes from the Far East, as it were.
This is wise.
Starts off in New Zealand, and then goes to Australia. So you'll be able to tell where Santa has been. Because I'll have to race back to Sussex, of course, to make sure that Santa gets access
to
the house.
To the house, so your two lads can be rewarded for the good year.
Well,
they've
let's
had.
hope so. I mean, you can never tell until the day,
Yeah. Now then,
maybe a lump of coal time.
By the way, did you see that I got a bottle of champagne from?
I did see that.
Our friends
I must admit, I was slightly taken aback because I don't seem to have had one.
Well,
I mean, I don't know whether there's been a miscommunication.
Well, who knows?
Because,
but
I presume you're bringing that in, are you? Because you don't drink champagne.
Well, it'll be used to entertain
What, food?
family and friends over Christmas.
Oh, well, that's all right then. I don't mind that. But, I mean, I think you should have a word with Benny.
Yeah.
Because clearly he's forgotten that...
Sorry,
it's
do you mean Benoit?
Benoit.
Benoit,
who is from the Champions Agency.
That's
right.
right,
Does
yeah.
a bit of representation
Yes.
for us. And remind him of the name of the people that he represents.
Yes.
And that would be the two mics. So that'll cost him two bottles of champagne as opposed to one.
Well, I don't think we can get choosy like that. I mean, and by the way, it had a beautiful box with champions written all over it.
Yeah, it looked very nice.
It's very nice, yeah, I was very pleased.
That was why I was slightly taken aback
No,
that
that's,
I didn't seem to be on the guest list.
That was there when I got back from a prolonged trip to Glasgow.
Yes.
I'm going to think very seriously about going to Scotland again. You know, it's so hard to get there and get back.
Well,
it's great when you're there, and the people were wonderful. But
it has to be said,
yeah.
and I've had a couple of conversations since
Yes.
the debacle of the trip up there. That I can't remember why we decided to go by plane, because I'd said to you, I think, remember that there can be problems in December trying to get backwards and forwards on planes to Scotland, because if there's not fog here, there's fog there.
The train is very long. The train is very long.
Well, it's 4.5 hours, but in the end, if we decided to go by train and say gone at 1 o'clock, and known that we were going by train.
Yeah, but we couldn't go at 1 o'clock. Our show finished at 1 o'clock, and the trains go at 20 past.
No, but once
we
we'd made the decision that we couldn't do the show,
oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
we could have just taken a train.
Well, that's why I went on the plane, because we thought, well, we've got 5 hours before the show, so even if there's a delay, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, as I got back, that wonderful bottle of champagne was there, but also a few more books arrived, because of course I'm a book reviewer as well.
Yeah.
And amongst them is a book that completely trashes the idea there's any aliens anywhere in the universe or the Milky Way or the galaxy or anything.
Well, hang on. Stephen Hawking thinks there might well be some
Well,
aliens.
he's wrong. He's wrong.
How do you know he's wrong?
Well,
who's this guy?
This guy is called... what's his name? The guy who wrote it.
I don't know.
The guy who wrote it is Jim Al-Khalili.
Oh, yeah.
A theoretical physicist who's gathered a useful cross-section of the brightest minds in space science to answer the question, do aliens exist?
Well, would you not consider Stephen Hawking to be one of the brightest minds in space?
I don't think Stephen Hawking's ever got into aliens. He's got more into
he has.
where Earth came from, where the universe started.
But he has also been quoted on the subject because he was asked about it, and he said, "Well, it would be ridiculously arrogant for us to believe that there is nobody else in any other part of the universe, and there's no other life form."
But the same scientist that you're talking about, who wrote the best-selling book, a short passage on time or something. A
brief history of time.
A brief history of time. It's one of the biggest-selling books ever.
A great film as well, actually. They made a film of it.
No, they didn't make a film of it.
No,
they couldn't. It's a scientific journal.
No, it's not
a novel or anything.
No, but they made a film about Stephen Hawking.
Oh, that's right, they did.
Which they called A Brief History of Time.
Eddie Redmayne.
That's him.
Was him? Yeah, that's okay. But anyway, listen. In this one, it's called Aliens. It's by a renowned world expert, Jim Al-Khalili, and he says there are no alien civilizations. Say Matthew Cobb, a zoologist from the University of Manchester. This is in his book on research.
But he doesn't know, though, does he?
Well, hang on. He's been to see the greatest minds, and he considers Matthew Cobb, a zoologist from the University of Manchester, to be one of them.
Right.
So what Mr. Cobb says is, take the odds of life emerging out of nothing, multiply them by the odds of it finding a way to make enough energy to grow bigger than a single cell, then multiply that by the odds of it becoming in some way conscious of itself, and then once again multiply that by the odds of it inventing TV, and you have an extremely small number that may as well be below zero.
Except it's not, and the point is that would be about the same odds as Leicester City winning the Premier League. So, it's all very well saying, it's not very likely.
No.
But it doesn't mean it's impossible.
No, it's impossible,
no,
according to this man.
No, he doesn't know.
However, at the other end of the spectrum stands Nick Lane, evolutionary biochemist who made his name with his book, The Vital Question, arguing that wherever there is a rock, water and carbon dioxide, i.e. basically everywhere, you have a good shot at life. The only problem is, nobody's ever seen one. Nobody's ever been aware of one. Nobody's photographed one.
Well, some people say they've seen them.
Well,
some people say they've been abducted by them.
But most of those people are loonies or fantasists, aren't they?
I mean, funnily enough, my ex-brother-in-law,
yes,
only ex because he's now no longer alive,
right,
did a book about this, right?
Yes.
And he went and interviewed all these people who said that they had been abducted by aliens.
So do you mean your late brother-in-law?
I suppose I do mean that.
Yes, you do, yeah.
So he's not really,
that right,
is he still my brother-in-law if he's dead?
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make much sense.
Well, he's on the family tree, so to speak.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's not much growing there. But
That's
anyway,
right, yeah.
He said that he found the fact that they all had the same experience, the fact that they all talked about it in the same way, the fact that they all described things in an almost identical manner, made it impossible to believe that something was not going on, i.e., he said they're all either suffering from some kind of collective hypnosis.
Who?
All the people who say they've been abducted by
I
aliens.
see, yeah.
Because they all tell a very similar story.
Yes.
Without having spoken to each other.
But they all talk to each other all
No,
the
they
time.
don't.
They're all members
No.
of all these loony
No, they
sort
don't.
of,
No.
you know, have you been
These were
abducted
not,
by an
no.
alien society and
No.
then go and
Have you been
sit down in
abducted by an
rooms
alien society? No.
and talk to each
No,
other
they
about
don't.
basically their own fantasies?
That's not true, no.
Yeah.
And in fact, he concluded that there can only be two possible conclusions. And this guy was very bright.
Yes.
You know, he was a former Yale scholar. He practically almost won a Pulitzer. He was nominated for Pulitzer Prize.
But didn't
for a
get
book.
one.
Well, he was shortlisted for it.
Right, yeah.
For Friendly Fire, which is talking about the Vietnam War.
Right.
And basically, he said you can either conclude that they are all under some kind of collective hypnosis,
Yes.
which doesn't really make much sense, or they're all telling the truth.
Yeah.
There's only two possible conclusions.
Well, why none of us ever seen one, you know?
Well, it's not that none of us, I mean, you and I haven't,
No.
but you don't really know for
But
sure.
these are a handful of people in a world full of billions of
No,
people.
there's-
so why are they
there's-
so
there's quite a lot
selective
of
in
them.
who they contact?
Well, you might ask that very same question. When we used to laugh about it when we'd see a story in the National Enquirer
Yeah.
and say, you know, if the aliens wanted to abduct somebody, why would they pick a guy from some trailer park
That's right.
down in Alabama?
Yeah, why not?
Why would they not pick
Why not
someone from
take
the White
Stephen
House?
Hawking or something? And,
Yeah.
and then he
But I
could
think
perhaps have more in common
I
with
think
them.
Hawking's right. I think it would be extremely arrogant of us as a human race to conclude that there
I
is
don't.
nobody else out there.
I don't.
There's so little we know about
It's not arrogance. That's just fact. That
It's
you know,
not.
in all the time we've been able to listen to radio waves and all that, nobody's ever come back with us. Oh, by the way, we've just picked up an alien.
But you don't know.
On planet Zog. You know,
How do you know, for example, that there aren't already aliens here?
Well,
You
you're
don't, do
talking
you?
about Men in Black.
Well, I'm not. Yeah, possibly.
Ludicrous. Utterly ludicrous.
I'm not saying
If
that
there are
they're-
aliens here and they're greater powers than us, they'd be running the place,
Why?
wouldn't they?
Well, maybe they
because they'd want to run the place.
Well, maybe they don't want to run the
Have
place.
you never seen the Superman film where
Well,
the...
Superman is a fictional character.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, this is all fictional as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, those three villains who are cast into space for eternity are suddenly brought back because Superman takes an atomic bomb into space and blows the prison apart and they come back to Earth.
Sure.
Well, as soon as they got here and they were aliens and they had superior powers to
that's
us,
because they were all
they
bad
started
guys.
running the world. Yeah, well, most people are bad guys.
No, aliens may not be.
People are bad. People who have superior powers subjugate those who don't.
Well, aliens may have a higher purpose.
Anyway, I've got a dire warning for you.
Have you?
Because what was also the conclusion of this book, Aliens, is this: that the world will actually blow itself apart in the not too distant future.
Is that what this guy says?
Yeah, because once you get atomic weapons in the hands of any form of civilization, they're eventually going to blow each other apart.
Well, it doesn't look that way, does it?
So he says, perhaps it will be a robot. Martin Rees, the astronomer royal, notes that the window between a society developing space-worthy technology and that same society blowing itself to smithereens is probably so brief that the first alien intelligence we meet is likely to be artificial or incomprehensible.
Well, hang on. I thought you said he didn't believe that it existed.
No, this is another theory within the book. This is a different person.
Oh, so he hasn't. So all the people he's spoken to haven't all agreed that there is no life out there.
No. They've got different views on how the world started, how it will end, but within that, there are no aliens,
Right.
okay?
Well, hang on. This guy says we might meet aliens, but they might be in artificial intelligence form, isn't it?
Exactly, robots, like the Daleks.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, who's created them?
Well, we don't. Who knows until you find
yeah,
them.
but so he's got somebody in the book who says he believes in aliens. Then.
No, he says,
Well, he
or
has.
perhaps it'll be a robot. It's a theory that he's floating.
Right.
Perhaps it'll be a robot.
See,
Okay,
nobody knows.
This is Martin Rees, the astronomer. Anyway, he says even if intelligence were widespread in the cosmos,
It's not widespread in here, is it?
Yeah, no. Mr. Rees remarks in an essay that would be downright bleak if anybody else had written it. We may only ever recognise a small and atypical fraction of it. Some brains, in inverted commas, i.e. artificial brains, may package reality in a fashion that we can't conceive. Others could be living contemplative, energy-conserving lives, doing nothing to reveal their presence. So he's going along your ridiculous theory that they're already here.
Right, but he is in fact an esteemed scientist, right? This guy.
What is he? He's the astronomer royal.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I mean, he's the astronomer royal, and he thinks there might already be aliens here.
What? You think so? No. He's saying that that's one theory. He's not saying that it's his theory. He's saying it is a current theory.
But he hasn't dismissed it, though.
Do you know that there are no such things as flying saucers?
Well, flying saucers was a term that was kind of come up with in the 50s, wasn't it? Because everybody assumed that if there was an enemy craft coming from outside of our planet, it would be shaped like a saucer.
Well, what happened was, it was one bloke The whole idea of the flying saucer was based on a mistake. An amateur pilot called Kenneth Arnold was passing over Washington State one day in 1947 when he saw a chain of 9 aircraft skimming along at about 1,200 miles an hour, military aircraft.
Right.
He was quoted by the local paper as saying they seemed saucer-like and were shaped like discs. What he meant, he said, was they were actually flying in a disc-like formation.
Oh, okay.
You see?
Which is unusual in itself, isn't it?
Yeah. And in a later view, he said they flew in a saucer-like fashion.
Yeah.
No matter, the name was planted. In the 7 decades since Arnold's sighting, thousands of people, most of them rural Americans, have been haunted by variations on hovering crockery peopled with slender green men.
Hovering crockery?
Well, crockery as in saucer, flying saucer.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Quackery,
more like.
Yes, in one infamously wonky...
Seen the time, by the way.
Hang on, 1992 report, 2% of all US citizens claim to have been abducted by aliens.
Well, 2% of 365 million is quite a lot of people.
That's 5 million people.
Yeah.
It's 5 million people.
Well, you said it was a few dozen.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's
I
5
didn't
million.
realise there's so many wackos in the
That's
world.
what I'm saying. 5 million. 5 million.
That's ridiculous.
And that doesn't count the people in the rest of the world.
That's
Anyway,
that's a
we'll
nonsense.
find out some more
Drivel.
about that coming up.
Trash.
I thought somebody would abduct you. This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
It's coming up to Christmas, and everybody needs an advent calendar. So here's one for you, Two Mic style.
Ho, ho, ho.
Well, you're suggesting you're now in the same area as Kant.
Excuse me.
Immanuel Kant.
Oh, I've never heard of him. I'm sorry about that. Rather shocked me, though. I thought you'd lost the plot there.
Ho, ho, ho!
Hey, hey, hey!
That's, of course, the Porky Advent calendar.
Yes.
Getting very close to Christmas now.
Yeah, I suppose it is.
So, what did you do Christmas shopping about on Friday then?
What did I what?
You said you went Christmas shopping on
Yes,
Friday.
I did, yes.
Did you buy me anything?
No.
You still haven't got me a present?
No.
Right.
No, definitely not.
So, am I not to expect something by Saturday's show then?
No, at
Is there
all.
going to be no exchanging of presents on Saturday? Because it's Christmas Eve show.
Yeah, okay, on Saturday, yeah.
You
Okay.
might bring me something?
I'll bring you some free
My
sausages
kids want to
like
buy
I
you
did
some
last
kind of...
year.
I've been trying to dissuade them from it.
No, I tell them I do not want them to spend their pocket money on me because
I've
have
told them that.
most things in life that a person like me needs.
Yeah. Indeed. In fact, Daniel says this. Porky said on Twitter the bottle of champagne didn't
Yes.
touch the sides
Yes.
after his day of travelling.
Yes.
So he reckons you've already drunk it.
Well-
Or he's saying either that or you're lying.
No, it's not that I'm lying. It's just that I did take a drink when I got home from the arduous and tortuous journey back
Right.
from Scotland.
But was it the champagne you drank?
It was a version of
A version of the champagne?
Bucks Fizz.
A Bucks Fizz?
Yes.
Right, but not from that bottle.
Well,
Because you said you're going to take that to the family.
the bottles are indecipherable.
Are they?
If
I
you
bet
see what
they
I
are.
mean,
I've
yeah,
got a few.
yeah.
All right.
So there's no great mystery there.
Okay.
Now, it says here, let me see what it says here. Oh, yes, it says, is Porky actually fictional? Or maybe he's an alien with such a closed mind, says
Yeah.
Gary from Glasgow.
Glasgow,
which,
yeah.
of course, is where we've been. So
Yeah.
we've obviously made a big impression on north of the border. People are now listening to the show and contacting
I think
us.
they always were. FC says the fact that life exists on this planet
Yep.
is proof enough. The enormity of space suggests that life occurs elsewhere. And I think that's true. I think it would be nonsensical
Yeah. And here's
to completely wipe out any kind of possibility that there is life somewhere else.
And here's another great fact that we should be aware of.
Yeah, go on.
And this comes from... I'm not sure who it comes from. Oh, it comes from Andrew. He says, I checked the price of Rooney Tunes last night, Porky, on Amazon, and it is $17.99.
Really?
Thank you very much indeed.
$17.99.
So you trying to make out
Well,
that,
give it a couple of weeks, it'll be back down to a penny.
What?
Maybe they've given it a Christmas boost.
No, well, I mean, at this time of the year, people, of
Here's a
course,
question,
want quality reading,
here's
don't
a question for Robbie.
Yes?
Does Porky think Everton will beat Liverpool again before we're all blowed up?
Ridiculous sort of supposition and in very bad taste,
I
that,
see.
so I'm not going to answer
Okay.
that. No.
All right. Now, I've got a bad story for you, right?
Right.
Today, I decided, because it was the first time I'd had some time to myself.
Yes.
And I must admit, I should have done it about 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Because you know how I've got a new car?
Yes.
And I had to put the old car in my underground car park.
Right.
Because I might sell it or I might keep it for a while. I haven't really decided what to do with it. But,
Yep.
you know, what I was trying to do was,
Yes.
you know, since the beginning of November, every couple of weeks, just go down, start it up, make sure it's still running. Blah,
Well,
blah,
I did that with my Jag when I had it, the old Jag,
Yeah.
and then I got rid of it because, frankly, it became too troublesome to maintain.
Yeah. So now
Yeah.
I go down there today, right?
Right, yeah.
Slide it back of the old electronic gate, which I've now got a new remote for, so I'm not
Yes.
worried about being trapped inside. And press the remote on the car key fob, and nothing happened.
No.
Absolutely nothing. No little light came on.
I think you'll find that the
So the
battery's
battery
gone dead.
has obviously died.
And I told you it would.
The thing is, I meant to do this 2 weeks ago, but we
Yes.
were just too busy, and I
Yeah,
just wasn't
yeah,
able to get
yeah,
down
yeah,
there to
yeah,
do it.
yeah, well, I think you've
so
had
now,
now.
now I've got a car sitting in an underground car park,
Yes.
which is pointed faced in, right? So the bonnet is right next to the wall.
Right.
Okay. So if I was able to get a pickup
Yeah.
truck in to sort of fire it up with some jump leads,
Yes.
I'm not sure that he'd be able to get in near enough to the bonnet because obviously, you know, the bonnet would have to face
Well,
out, wouldn't it?
I think mechanics have a way of doing these things, but it is. I mean, once your battery's gone in a car that's got an electronic locking system, you are knackered.
So how do you get into it?
They have a
Because
special.
I can't open up the doors.
No, they have a special electronic device which will lift the button, so to speak, on the inside of the door
No.
and get it open.
Right.
Yeah, they do.
Do
yeah,
they?
I've seen it happen. Yeah.
But
yeah.
so I don't know whether I'm going to. But now that until the point at which I decided I'm going to sell it, I suppose.
Yes.
I don't know whether it's worth doing that because if I get it done now,
Yeah.
by the time I want to sell it again, or
Yeah.
by the time I get around to it,
Why
it
don't you
might
just
have
have
gone dead
it
again.
crushed?
Well, I might do actually.
Yeah, just get some guy around and pay him
Well, I might
25
do.
quid to take it away and just crush it.
Well, they might
It's
not
a
want to
heap
crush
and
it.
a- and
But
a-
it's not a heap. It is still a good car to drive around in.
It's a mobile piece of junk.
It's not true. Absolutely
And
not.
It should be in a museum. Talking about junk, by the way, and I'm not saying it is junk, but I've
You just
become...
did say it was junk.
No, I've become aware of Andy Carroll,
Andy Carroll, yes.
West Ham footballer.
Yeah.
Did you know that he spent £20,000 on a miniature model of the Angel of the North to put in his garden? No, I think that's great.
That's typical of him.
No, I
isn't
think
it?
that's great.
That is ridiculous.
I mean, the boy's
Well, when
Geordie
you say-
through and through.
When you say miniature, what sort of size?
Well, I
is
think
it,
it's
is
about...
it like that thing from you know, the miniature Stonehenge?
No, I think it's about the same size as him.
Well, Angel of the North, like
Yeah.
so life size.
Well, no, because life size is massive,
Well,
isn't
no,
it?
it'd
The
be
one on the
man-size,
A1.
then. Man-size.
Yeah, it's man size. Yeah,
It's
it's
life
man
size,
size.
yeah.
No, it's not life size.
Well,
life
there's-
size would mean the same size as the one on the A1, which is about 40 feet high.
No, look, that's not life size. It's not alive.
No,
It's a
no, it is.
statue.
It is life size because it exists in that form.
No, if you
and
said to
therefore...
a sculptor, I want you to do a life-size sculpture of the Angel of the North, surely that would be the size of a man.
No, you'd say man size. You wouldn't say life size.
Would you?
Because life could be a giraffe, couldn't it? In which case it'd be much bigger.
Giraffe
But I
size.
think that's
Hasn't got any
great
wings, though.
because you know he's obviously wants to remind people of his roots, where he comes from. Do you know what I always used to love? Whenever I used to drive up to Newcastle, the sign when you saw the sign saying. It just said the North.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
it
you
didn't
see
say
those.
anything else.
Well, you see those at the bottom of the M1. It says Hatfield, the North.
Yes,
and
that's
it
right.
became a phrase that people used to use.
Yeah, but I mean, mostly you see the Northwest or the Northeast or Scotland or something like that. When it just says the North, you're
North.
going north.
Yeah.
In fact, funny enough, when I worked on the Evening Chronicle in Newcastle, I used to have a terrible problem sometimes with intros when you just described, you know, a northern landlord
Yeah.
told last night of terror
Right.
as, you know, a bunch of
But wouldn't
drunken
you-
revellers
Well, hang on, wouldn't you-
smashed his bar to
Well, wouldn't
bits.
you have been more specific? Either a Newcastle or a Wallasey.
Well,
or,
I was used to, but they always
Wall's
change it to
End.
north. All subs used to always change it to north. I
Really?
don't know why. Yeah, you know.
What, because anyone identifies pub or
I
something?
don't know. Just called it Northern Landlord or something. Now, listen, I want to tell you about something. I came across this
No,
story.
hang on, I want to hear more about Andy Carroll's miniature thing.
Well, that's all I can tell you. He's put in his garden, apparently, and now it reminds him of home. You know, I think that's great. I mean...
I think that's ridiculously hilarious.
No, I think it's great. I mean, I've still got ambitions to have a statue of myself in my own roof garden.
Yeah.
Because I think
But
that
your
would be
roof
great.
garden's what, life size?
Life size, yes.
So what, the size of a man?
Size of me.
Slightly smaller.
No, size of me,
Yeah.
and definitely if I fulfil my ambition to move to the north, which I'm going to when I retire from being a communicator.
Yes.
Although obviously public demand
Well,
may preclude
so have
that.
you got a date
but,
for that?
But well, not really.
Right.
I will then have a lifestyle statue of myself put in the garden, without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay.
Now, what I was going to say was, but now I don't know anything more about Andy Carroll's
Okay.
statue, but I think it's good.
All right.
Now, did you read the story over the weekend about a guy called Dickie Borthwick? He's the 81-year-old footballer.
I've heard about him. Yeah, I heard him
who
being
lost
talked
his
about
team
on
because the
TalkSport.
team suddenly disbanded. So
Hasn't he changed teams or something?
he changed teams and he played another game and he did well. Now, I thought, what a stupid story about an 81-year-old
Why?
man. Well, these... I
No, apparently,
think
there's a video
things
of him.
about...
Apparently, there's a video of him running up the stairs.
Well, actually, I was about to say to you, I
very
saw
fit.
some footage today, and actually, he's not a knackered old,
No.
whinging, whining guy.
Right.
He did actually get out onto the football field and run around like everybody else. I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, it's
you
not
know,
like that walking football that you so despise.
ridiculous. And sometimes, you see these stories. Oh, a 90-year-old man has made his first parachute jump, strapped to
And
somebody
his
else. yeah, strapped to somebody else and all that. And you think, well, you're only doing it because it's only a story because you're so old.
Well, that's the
But
point.
this guy at 81, I mean, he was amazingly fit. And you're right, the bit of footage I saw of him, he was running up the stairs at home to get his kit and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I think
I'm
he
as
should
mobile as him at 81.
Yeah, I think he should be applauded for that.
Yeah.
Now, how about this? Cash from Crawley says, have you guys seen the video of a UFO coming to Earth through a wormhole? I haven't seen that.
No, and if I did, I would write it off as a ridiculous piece of, constructed footage.
And here's one from John who says, infinite parallel universe theory means somewhere out there is at least one version of Earth where Porky speaks sense.
I speak sense?
Only in one parallel universe.
One parallel universe,
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean by that, but
No,
anyway.
never mind.
Simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics, and we're going to speak now to Max Abrams, Professor of Political Science at Northeastern University, focusing on terrorism. People will know, of course, by now there's a couple of stories that are dominating the front pages. One is this dreadful attack in Berlin at a Christmas market. Carnage at Christmas markets, the front page of the Daily Mail. 9 dead, 50 hurt as a lorry ploughed into the crowd in a very sort of fashionable part of Berlin.
Yeah.
And, of course, very, very similar, bringing back memories of what happened in Nice back on Bastille Day. But before that, there was an equally shocking event over in Ankara in Turkey, where an off-duty police officer managed to get himself into an art gallery and gunned down Vladimir Putin's ambassador to Turkey, claiming that it was revenge for Aleppo in Syria.
Yeah.
But
the gunman was then killed himself, wasn't he?
Yes, I believe so. So, I mean, lots of questions, lots of people wondering if this is what we're going to have to look forward to throughout the Christmas period. Let's talk to Max and find out. Max, a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Now, the problem with what always happens in these instances is people try and sort of link them, and is there some kind of overarching, Islamist message that goes out that this is a good day for doing this kind of thing? We're not absolutely sure of the motivation or of the identity yet, I don't think, of the guy who drove the lorry in Berlin, but we certainly know that the guy in Turkey was a police officer, had been a police officer for a couple of years. No reason to suspect that he would do something like this. What's your take on the two events?
Sure. I mean, it's really just a coincidence that they happened in the same day. I think your summary was good. In terms of the motives, I think we know more about the assassination of the Russian ambassador because the shooter yelled out, Allahu Akbar, and said things like, don't forget Aleppo, don't forget Syria, we're going to make you pay. So there was clearly a political motive, whereas in the Berlin case, it's highly suspected that what we're looking at is a terrorist incident, but we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. We still don't know, even if the person in German custody right now is the driver.
Right.
Apparently, they've taken somebody in. There have been some reports that that the driver was a recent refugee from either Pakistan or Afghanistan. There are also reports swirling that basically that truck wasn't his, that he hijacked it from Poland, which is adjacent, of course, to Germany, and then basically took his truck and used it sort of Nice, France style to run people down. And so there's a lot missing in these stories that will come to light in the next few days.
Sure. And certainly the State Department had warned a few months back that there could be these kinds of attacks on places like Christmas markets and obviously in Europe. I mean, there's so many of those that you can't protect them all. But the thing that puzzled me about this particular attack was that there didn't seem to be any, with what happened in Nice, there was a very clear moment at which the police realised that, this guy was doing something terrible and they had to try and stop him. They shot at him and all of that. This guy seems to have just stopped the truck and got out and run off.
Yeah, I this might just be my impression, but my impression is that when there are terrorist incidents in Germany, information is not as forthcoming. I've been in this situation a number of times where there was an attack in Germany and everybody around the world was, reading, the latest news updates, basically in a state of confusion. So I think that this might be part of Germany's strategy. I mean, they also released, official statements saying don't spread rumors about the incident. So I'm really not sure. But what you're saying jives with what I've seen as well, which is that the driver of the truck managed to get out of his vehicle and run, get away a couple kilometers and was then arrested, and that the guy in the truck, presumably the owner or the normal driver of it from Poland, was killed.
Yeah, he was assassinated, apparently,
Details are sketchy.
Yeah, I thought the truck, from what I saw, the still pictures I saw, the truck windscreen appears to have been shattered, and I think it just ran into one stall too many and came to a halt, and then the guy ran off. But this is a new tactic yet again, isn't it, Max? First of all, there were car bombs, then they were walking the streets with machine guns, just killing people at random. Now they're running people down with huge trucks. I mean, all the time they're changing the method of terrorism, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, that's right. I wouldn't say that this is that new, though. I mean...
Well, running people down with a truck has only been done once before in Nice, so I mean... No. Just recently, someone used their vehicle in Ohio State University in the United States. Right.
Palestinian terrorists also used their vehicles. But the most well-known, notorious one was the one in Nice, France. But going back to 2010, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, AQAP, was calling on, their followers to use their vehicles. And ISIS is making the same, announcements.
Right.
The scary thing is that, everyday, items, like a car, for example, can be used with great lethality.
Yeah.
And the reality is that there is simply not a lot that governments can do about it, especially in democracies, around, the holiday season.
That's true. But I mean, one of the witnesses who happened to be from this country said that, the interesting thing about when you walk around British cities now is that there's a lot of these very, very large steel bollards that have been put into various places, not everywhere, but into a lot of places where there are many, many people gathering for things like this, whereas there doesn't seem to be any of that in Germany. I'm not saying that, obviously, that that's therefore their fault, but you may see more of that happening now, presumably.
I would definitely think so. I mean, this strategy, although it's not new, it does seem to be picking up. And now, pretty recently, you have two, very high-profile incidents of using a vehicle in this fashion. So, law enforcement is going to have to respond. And in return, the terrorists will respond. And so it's a continuous sort of cat and mouse strategic interaction game where government needs to be ahead of the terrorists.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the thing that might concern many people or may develop more is what Russia will do in retaliation for the death of the killing of one of their diplomats in Turkey. First question I have on that one is, does he have any sort of Secret Service protection, and where were they when this guy was shooting him?
Yeah.
Apparently they were not there. This guy, I mean, if you look at the pictures, the shooter was, right behind the ambassador. Seemed to have, completely full access to him. And I think that was a real mistake. It was a mistake because Turkey has been frequently targeted over the past year, both by Islamic State and Kurdish terrorists. And furthermore, the Russians are increasingly unpopular among both jihadists as well as inside Turkey because of its strong support for military operations against the rebels in Aleppo.
Well, that's what I find extraordinary about the fact that this guy did not have 24-hour round-the-clock, security with Kalashnikovs.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Seems amazing.
Yeah.
So what will Russia do? I mean, Vladimir Putin's not known for being sort of, shall we say, shy and coming forward in these matters. I mean, are they going to do what the old Soviet Union occasionally used to do, which was to single out the head of somewhere and actually take his head off?
One of the main things that Putin has been saying is that the rebels in Syria are actually terrorists.
Yeah.
And the fact that, right after, bombing Aleppo, the ambassador gets shot in another country, I think that's only going to reinforce Putin's understanding that he really needs to help Assad crush the opposition. It's also possible that incident will negatively impact Russia's relationship with Turkey, because over the past few weeks, that relationship seems to have been getting better. They have been cooperating more over Syria. But I suspect that Russia's anger will be directed more at the rebels than at Turkey, because there's an understanding that the Turkish government itself is embattled by the jihadists. And so perhaps this will even strengthen bilateral ties between Russia and Turkey, because they're both fighting, jihadists who want to blow them up.
Well, that was suggested earlier today. I was listening to, Russian experts viewing this, saying that Mr. Putin will only try to tighten the bonds between himself and Turkey because they both have a common cause to eradicate this sort of thing. The thing I find very odd is that this guy who shot the Russian ambassador then threatened to shoot a load of journalists who were standing in the room with him, but decided not to, then went upstairs, to be met by a hail of bullets from a load of policemen who apparently were part of the protection guard, but they're in the wrong room, weren't they?
I don't really know how helpful what that is.
No, exactly. That's what I mean. I mean, just to expand my colleague's inquiry earlier, where on earth was any security surrounding the Russian ambassador when, normally speaking, we see Russians abroad surrounded by men in dark suits with bulging pockets?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the Russian ambassador again
exactly.
during a time, with real heightened tensions because of Aleppo. I mean, just the day before, there were huge, rallies and demonstrations, mostly by Turks, against Russia's foreign policy.
Yes.
And so these high-profile targets should have been protected.
Yes, exactly.
So in closing, I suppose, Max, we'll see more of this type of attack that we saw in Berlin, but it could happen kind of at any time, anywhere, and who knows where it goes from here.
Well, yeah, I think that it's confusing for people because, on the one hand, the organization Islamic State is getting weakened in Iraq and in Syria.
Yep.
That is true. We're making a lot of progress there. But on the other hand, the terrorism, around the world, doesn't seem to be subsiding. And so there are really two distinct issues. One is, the organization itself, and the other are all the whack jobs, basically, who get inspired to commit local attacks. And
That's
the reality is we're doing better against the organization than we are, against the lone wolves and the small cells.
Yeah.
So that threat will certainly continue.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
Max, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Max Abrams, just a tweet here from someone quoting from a Turkish news source, the Daily Sabah, saying the US Embassy in Ankara has had an incident as well. A gunman tried to enter the embassy but was neutralised by security forces, and he's been taken into custody. And there's pictures of that as well. So it's going to be going on for a while, I suppose. Hopefully not over the Christmas period, but sadly, probably so. This is TalkSport.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Christmas come a bit early here at Talk Sport. I've just been handed a mince pie. First one of the season, I have to say. Which I'm just having some tea.
I think it's disgraceful.
I know you don't like eating during the show.
Well, I think it's something that should be banned, and if I was still running the show, I would ban it. You know what I mean?
It keeps my sugar levels up, though. You wouldn't want me wilting,
keeps your sugar levels up.
You know, because you've got to make sure your sugar levels stay high during the night.
Yeah, so you tell me. Listen, on the way back from Glasgow, I happened into a W.H. Smith's at a main London station.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought I'd just check out exactly where we are with best-selling books, because, of course, I'm a book reviewer.
Yes.
And I need to know these things.
You need to know what's out there.
I need to know what's out there. And now I'd heard about this phenomenon about all these, best-selling books now are actually a play on children's books. For instance, the paperback non-fiction... which one is it? Oh, yeah, sorry. No, the hardback, non-fiction.
Yeah.
The third best-selling book in the country at the moment is 5 on Brexit Island.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a play on the Enid Blyton famous five.
Right.
But this is about adults who are all...
But is it not like it's quite a small book? It's like
it's a small book.
Like Janet and John style.
It's a small book, like a Penguin book, like they used to be, and the type is in big type.
Yeah.
So it's like it's written for sort of adult morons, you know what I mean?
Well, no, it's supposed to be comedic. It's supposed to be funny.
Well, it's not comedic. It's pathetic. The next one is the Ladybird Book of the Meeting.
Yes.
So this is like...
Same idea.
Well, I picked that up and I had a look at it, and it's all about how meetings are non-meetings.
Yeah.
Meetings are just things to do when you've got nothing else to do.
It's meant
and
to be
people
funny.
call meetings.
It's meant to be funny.
But the problem is it's a joke that really exists in one paragraph, spread over about sort of 60 or 70 pages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Is it that long? Are you sure? Because
I'm sure it is.
The books like this that I've seen are very much in the style of what those old Janet and John books were like.
Well, I think you're
right.
right.
They've only got about 20 pages.
It only costs £6.99. It might have been about 20 or 30 pages.
Yeah, it's not like a long book.
Meanwhile, some other books that people are buying in vast numbers these days are things like Test Your Cat, the cat IQ test, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievably.
Well, these are all sort of happy and easy Christmas presents to buy people.
£4.99, so that's a small book. But then the next one, which I thought you might have got, Test Your Dog, Is Your Dog an Undiscovered Genius?
Yes.
HarperCollins, £4.99.
Yeah.
I mean, these aren't books. These are pamphlets. They're pamphlets,
these are like things that people buy each other for Christmas. I mean, I found myself buying a lot of cookbooks, for example, this year, because I know people love to cook. So I've got, cookbooks for almost everybody in the family that would want one.
Yeah. In the same chart, you won't believe this, 5 go on a strategy away day.
Yeah.
Another £7.99.
I saw that. Well, I almost bought that. That sounded quite funny.
But this one, which may apply to people in our profession, 5 give up the booze.
Yes.
£7.99.
Right.
And then all these daft things about how it works, the grandparents, Ladybirds for grown-ups.
Well, Ladybirds for grown-ups, that's a great idea.
We have all reverted to sort of either morons or
you're missing the point.
Frustrated children going back to our, our juvenile years.
No, you're missing the point.
Going back to our childhood years.
You're missing the point.
It's unbelievable.
I mean, like these Ladybird spoof books, I think are very good. Like they've got one, for example, How It Works, and they've got one called The Husband.
Yes.
And they've got one called The Dog.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But it's all for people to read and enjoy and have a laugh with, and it's not massive expense. It's something you put in somebody's stocking.
I think it's ludicrous.
Why?
Absolute ludicrous.
Why
honestly.
do you say that?
Hey,
why?
Well, because they're just not books. They are literally...
Well, somebody's making money out of
them. Sort of half-baked thoughts.
But somebody's making money out of them.
Well, somebody... I mean, you could say...
I wish I'd thought of it.
People make money out of soft porn, but, you don't admit to buying it, do you? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't buy soft porn.
Well, I don't buy soft porn either, so that's
why I buy
I
hard porn. No, so I don't buy any porn.
No.
The point is that these people have come up...
show.
No, you don't have to buy porn anymore. You don't have to buy it, okay? It's out there on the internet if you wish to view it.
Yeah, that's what you say.
But obviously I wouldn't want to tell you how, because I don't know. The point is, right, that somebody has come up with this idea. I think it's a very good idea, and it will probably be good for a couple of years, and then they'll move on to something else. I don't know why you have such an objection to it.
Yeah, well, I just couldn't believe it. I'm used to the days when the best-selling books were either about astrophysics, like...
Well, like what?
Like the guy we talked about earlier, Stephen Hawking.
The guy we talked about.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Or the great novels written by the great authors,
Like what?
What's his name? The guy who was in Cuba all that time.
The guy who was in Cuba?
Yeah.
What, Castro?
No. The novelist who was there with him,
What, you mean Hemingway?
Ernest Hemingway. Shot himself,
Why did you ever buy a Hemingway book?
Well,
You've never bought a Hemingway book in your life?
I think I have.
Really? Which one?
For Whom the Bell Tolls.
For Whom the Bell Tolls?
Yeah.
Have you got any of his other books?
Eh?
Have you got any of his other books?
Yeah, one or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brighton Rock?
Uh-huh. No.
No, that was Graham Greene.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, Graham Greene. Well, he used to be top of the book charts as well.
Well, so did you, apparently.
Yes, I do. I do. Yeah, there's an awful lot of bubbly in Brazil. That was number one bestseller.
That wasn't exactly a work of great literary sort of intensity, was it?
It was the very interesting lifestyle of a footballer and a bon viveur. Actually, David...
Do you see how David Ginnell has been in the papers?
I was about to say, David Ginnell had picked me up on that. He said, no, not the bon viveur, bon... What did he call
Vivant.
Bon vivant, that's right. The bon vivant, that's right. Yeah. Well, apparently he's found a new girlfriend.
Mass Rogerizer, as some would call him.
Oh, he was a mass Rogerizer. Well, a shadow of a doubt.
I don't think it's in the past tense.
Oh, no, I think you're probably right.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of pictures of him with this young model, aged 27.
Yes, that's right, yeah. And apparently...
Good luck to him, I say.
He's got a very good-looking wife, which you would imagine, with David being one of the best-looking men in the world,
because
by his own admission.
She'll be asking his lawyer how much she is worth, I think, at this point, won't she?
That's right. I told his story, didn't I, when he... plays for Aston Villa. He turned up at one of the players' sort of Sunday afternoon lunch parties in a red Ferrari.
Yeah, open top, right?
Open top with a cashmere sweater draped around his shoulders. And according to the eyewitness report, every woman's knees buckled as he got out of the car. And
some of the men, I think, as well.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and walked across the grass to join the barbecue. You know what I mean?
He's an incredibly attractive man.
He is very and so charismatic. We went out for a drink once after we'd done a breakfast show. And people would literally walk into lampposts staring at him and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
I know.
He's a very nice guy. Really, a very, very amiable sort of bloke as well.
And, you never know what's going on in people's personal lives. So whatever it is, we wish him well.
Exactly. But I do, as a book reviewer of quality, I do sort of take offence to what really I regard as a load of sort of comic-like publications now being published and entering the book charts.
But surely there's room for all sorts of books.
Into the book charts.
There's all sorts of rubbish that comes out at Christmas,
quality.
How about this from Wrong Star? He says, an adult book written for morons. It's a direct rival to Rudy Tunes.
Oh, very funny.
And Jamie says, talking about books, I know Porky's is online for a penny. I'm not sure if that's value for money or not.
£17.99, mate. I've just been told.
Well, he may have looked in the wrong section.
No, I don't think he did. I mean, didn't you used to love the annuals you'd get when you were a kid at Christmas? I used to love it.
Not really,
Roy the Rover's annual.
No. I was never a big one for annuals.
Oh, I loved annuals. I was
never a big one for comics, actually.
I particularly loved the football annuals. Shoot annual. Yeah. James Buchan's Football Monthly annual.
See, I
loved all those.
I never really was.
I loved all those.
I was because by about the age of 6 or 7, I was reading horror stories. I used to read the Pan Book of Horror.
Oh, really?
Because the Pan Book of Horror
that shows a definite sort of problem in the psyche of you as a child.
Why is that?
Well, kids at 7 want to be immersed in horror.
Why not?
God, that explains a lot in your life.
Why wouldn't you?
No,
I mean, I found it fascinating. And there would be like a series of short stories, like 6 or 7 or 10 short stories in a paperback.
Yeah.
And so, I had a reading age of about 15 when I was 7. So, I mean, I wasn't going to be reading comics.
Yeah, the problem is, you still got a reading age of about 15, mate. In fact, you got a mental age of about 15. You behave like a wayward juvenile most of the time. Yes, I do.
Yeah, and how do you think you behave?
I behave like a responsible adult because I have responsibilities in life.
You behave like a naughty schoolboy who's been caught out most
of the time. No, that's
You're capable of telling the truth.
You still want to be
coming clean.
You still want to be a rebellious teenager,
Not at all.
Embarking on your first, excursions into wild bladderation, a little bit of dabbling in the old nefarious substances.
I beg your pardon. What do you mean by that?
In the past, obviously, and basically wayward behaviour, misbehaving with members of the opposite sex and all that kind of stuff. You're into all of that if you can get away with it.
Well, I'm enjoying myself. Is that what you mean?
No.
I know that you like to punish yourself.
No. By the way, have you seen this ridiculous report which says that, when you have a problem in your relationship, the way that it normally becomes apparent there's something wrong is when you go out shopping, you buy all the wrong stuff deliberately.
You buy the opposite brand of your partner, right?
To annoy your partner. Yeah, literally.
I think it's a rather, shall we say, simplistic way of suggesting there's a problem in your relationship.
Yeah, it's subconsciously you are taking out the exasperation by buying brands we know our better halves will not like. It's called oppositional choice.
Really?
I
don't think I've ever been involved in that.
For instance, you buy yourself Diet Coke when you know that your partner actually hates Diet Coke and likes the full sugar version.
Really?
It says the subtle tactic is used unwittingly as revenge by a partner with a poor level of power in the relationship who feels unable to voice their frustrations openly.
Well, surely the problem in that relationship is that the fact that one of them feels as if they're not in a position of power.
Well, it says here...
Not how they manifest it.
It's a weird old report, this. It says, we found that consumers are using brand choice as a form of behaviour to deal with conflict in relationships.
Who's come up with this rubbish?
Well, it's a guy in New Hampshire.
Oh, yeah.
It's a guy called T. Paul Collage of the Business and Economics Centre in New Hampshire.
Uh-huh.
And he said that in the relationship... asked about their partner's preferred brands in 6 categories, including toothpaste, coffee and shoes. And then a question on how much they link their partner's names to words that evoke frustration, sadness or natural emotions.
But I mean, most people, I would say, would recognise what I'm about to tell you in a relationship where if you ever get sent to do the shopping, it's actually a massive challenge to come back with all the right stuff. Because if you do come back with something wrong by accident, there's hell to pay. It's the wrong washing powder. Because if somebody says, right, make sure you get the Ariel Bio, for example, there's about 55 different versions of it.
Really?
If you have to buy something else, that comes like toothpaste, there's about 58,000 different kinds of toothpaste.
Yeah, but I mean, what's it matter? The toothpaste, you stick on a toothbrush, you stick it in your gob.
But if you were living with a woman, you would know how it matters. Because if you bring the wrong thing home, they don't want it. Right? And you get into terrible trouble for buying the wrong thing.
Yeah, you don't watch Strictly, do you?
Strictly, no.
You know, some news reporter...
Is it still going on? I thought
some
it was
news
finished.
reporter won it over the weekend. Some guy's a sports reporter.
Well, yeah, the guy from BBC. Well, you know what they do on the BBC?
Ori Aduba.
Yeah, the BBC put all their people who work for them onto
He's a sports
Strictly.
Reporter.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah.
I've watched him on the BBC.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Johnny Hollands' son was in Strictly, wasn't he?
Johnny Hollins?
Johnny Hollands' son.
I don't know.
What's his
No
name?
idea.
Chris Collins?
Chris Hollins.
Chris Hollins. Chris Hollins.
Collins?
I'm sure he won
what
it.
What does he do?
Thought he won it. I think he was on Strictly. He won it.
No, but what does he do, though?
He was a BBC sports reporter.
Really?
Yeah, he's one of those who didn't want to go to Manchester, so he kind of copped out and started doing other things.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, when they moved off their operation to where was it? To Salford.
Salford,
That's right, yeah.
where we did a show. Anyway,
That's right.
more of that coming up. It's still the game going on between Carolina and the Redskins. I think they've just
sorry.
finished the
Did you
second
catch
quarter.
me
I think
yawning
it's
there?
13-9. We'll keep you updated. This is TalkSport. This is Talk Sports. Going to be Ask Porky tomorrow, of course. Porky Vision on Wednesday, and then the Porky Quiz coming up. Should we do a Christmassy type quiz or not really?
Yeah, we will do.
Something festive?
I will think of something. Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I thought already we might do it on the man upon whom Santa Claus is based.
Oh, yeah. What, St. Nicholas?
St. Nicholas.
Yeah, good old St. Nick.
Yeah, but that's only a thought. That's
only a thought.
Think it aloud.
How about this from Nick, who says, if you only buy one comic-like book this Christmas, make sure it's Mike Parry's Big Book of Quizzes. All the answers guaranteed wrong.
Yeah, well, there isn't a Mike Parry Big Book of Quizzes.
Maybe there should be. Maybe we should do one.
Please don't be misleading people into that sort of
well, maybe we should do
direction, okay?
Rob says, is Porky a book reviewer by any chance? He's only mentioned it about 20 times tonight.
Well, I'd just like people to know that, that is one of the routes I go down. I'm multifaceted, put it that way.
You certainly are. Kevin and Kirsty say this.
Yeah.
Mike, can you ask Porky if he has plans to do any more bestsellers that I can then pick up for a penny? May I suggest a cookbook?
No, I'm doing a cookbook. By the way, the pictures which have been published in tomorrow morning's papers of the poor old Russian ambassador, right?
Yeah.
Are quite graphic.
They are.
Well,
they're incredibly, because I think the journalists were all there in situ.
Yes.
They're also very, very unusually good quality for that kind of event.
Yeah.
Because normally you don't have anybody who's actually there.
This guy's flat on his back, dead, with 8 bullets pumped into his back. But the strangest thing is, I can't see a drop of blood.
No.
And funny thing is, the man whose name we do not mention on this show, not Mr. J. Rayner, but the member of the Beatles.
Oh, yeah.
John Lennon.
Yes.
No, there was never any blood on the ground there either. It was a very strange sort of phenomenon, But,
well, I suppose that occasionally it doesn't look as bloody as perhaps it would.
Yeah,
in other circumstances.
So,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you seen this story, by the way, about the guy who found a medieval ring in Sherwood Forest?
£70,000 it's
worth,
isn't it?
70 grand, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing looking ring.
Yeah.
I rather like it.
Yeah, I rather like it as well. If it's anything to do with old Robin of Sherwood, then I have to say, what a piece of fabled folklore history that ring is.
And this guy, Mark Thompson, who makes his living spray painting forklift trucks, went into the woodlands, right?
He makes his living what?
spray painting forklift trucks.
What's he spray painting them for?
Well, presumably when they're being manufactured, they have to be spray painted.
Oh, I see. You're not like a graffiti artist.
No,
or
I don't
anything
think
like
so.
that. No.
I mean, maybe
no.
you could do you a special colour.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
I would have
yeah.
thought that's all done by robotic arms these days, isn't it? Spray painting in vehicles.
I'd have thought so. Now listen.
Anyway, I haven't finished telling you about this
right.
guy yet.
Sorry, this is
But
great. Yeah, I'm
he's
really
had-
interested. Yeah, go on.
Well, because I was going to ask you if you ever looked for anything like that. Have you ever had a metal detector?
No.
Because I once got a metal detector for the kids.
No.
But it was a kind of toy one.
No.
And we went on the beach and stuff, and you never find anything.
For a child, that's fine. Anybody you see wandering around, an adult with a metal detector, is a half-bake.
Well, he's just made himself 70 grand.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Well,
I mean, he can buy himself a lot of half-baked cakes for that.
Yeah, but that's 1 in a million. Most people who walk around with metal detectors across fields where they thought
I don't
battles
think
had
that's
taken
true.
place and all this sort of thing, they're just half-bakes.
No,
and,
I don't think so.
And, most of the time, all they ever find is a ring-pulled cans and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Well, sometimes
ring
they
pulled
find
from cans, I should
Sometimes
say.
they find coins. Sometimes they find interesting
But
artifacts.
it's so few and far between. Anyway, who in this modern world has got any time whatsoever to go around?
Well, you
and,
go for a walk on the Downs, right?
Yes, I do.
On a regular basis.
Yes.
Now, nothing to stop you taking a metal detector with you.
Why would I do that?
Because you'd be doing something other than just walking.
But then anybody coming the other way would think, look at that half-baked. with
Well,
his
you
metal
only think
detector.
that. I don't think they would.
Yeah, they would.
I don't think they would.
Listen, I said to you that I passed the Undertakers tonight.
Yes,
There's
the
a Christmas tree outside
Christmas
with
tree
flashing
outside,
lights.
yeah.
With flashing lights. I mean, go, come in and see a corpse. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Unbelievable. But anyway, what I was going to say to you
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, yeah. What I was saying to you is that I was somebody was telling me about the arrangements you'd have to make for your demise. You know
Yes.
what I mean? I mean, you see the adverts on the telly all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Get yourself life insurance and all that. Even young people. Oh, how much is that? Oh, that's
Yeah.
much cheaper than I thought it was a
Yeah.
month. Yeah, thanks very much.
I hate that ad.
That'll
And
pay
I-
off the mortgage and the
I'm
wife
34 and a
Well,
non-smoker.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
oh, yeah,
yeah.
well, aren't you the smug one?
Yeah, that's right.
And then
yeah.
he goes, oh, that'll help with
Yeah.
paying off the mortgage.
and all that. Yeah.
He's unbelievably cheery, that guy.
Yeah, that's right. What I've discovered is that a lot of people these days are dying and taking all their wealth with them because they haven't left passwords in the computer
Oh, well,
to
nobody
things
can
like
figure
their
them out.
bank accounts and things.
Really?
Or even that they haven't told people they've got investments.
Right.
It's all in computers.
Yeah.
And unless you make a log of the passwords, a lot of it remains locked in.
So the bank is not duty bound to pay out
in
to
any
your
way
next
at all.
of kin.
Not any way at all.
Really?
Even if you knew where the account was. You see, I mean, I'm lucky that I've got financial advisors and accountants and things who know everything about.
Well, I haven't been able to find the missing 12 grand, though.
No, that's absolutely true.
You haven't found that yet.
I haven't found that yet because I haven't gone looking for it yet, actually. But I'm sure I'll be able to find it in the end. It's just that they shut down.
Well, yeah,
the
but
actual branch.
that's the point. If they shut something down, and you don't get told, or you get told but you forget where it's been transferred to,
Yes.
you got no chance.
I'm going to look it up and see who they merged with and where that nearest office is. It's got to be there somewhere, I'm sure. But what I'm saying is that, a lot of people, I mean, you could take somebody like, your old uncle or something you hadn't seen for 5 or 6 years, and he suddenly, his housekeeper got him into, like, electronic banking or something like that.
Yeah.
And the problem is, when you die, unless you've left the passwords,
But surely,
nobody knows where the money is.
Surely if you've made a will, for example,
Yes.
but it doesn't contain that information,
Yes.
but it does contain information that says, say, you or the next of kin,
Yeah.
aren't the bank then duly sort of obliged to then give you the information that they've got on him?
No, because all the will says, have you got a will?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, all the will says is that...
it was written a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. I've got to change mine very soon. But all it says is 20% of your whatever worth you're left goes to person A. 15% goes to so. It doesn't tell you where the money is or how much you
I get
or even
that.
how much you've got.
No, I get that. But if you're the next of kin or the executor of the estate, should you not be able to gain access to the bank account details?
Yeah, what I'm saying is you might not know where the bank account details are.
Right.
How would you know?
Yes.
I mean, you
It's a good point.
You open up somebody's computer and it just says, I don't know. Well, it might not say anything.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go onto online banking, you have to have a password just to get into that before you can, I mean, for instance, you'd have to guess which bank you're in, wouldn't you?
Well, unless you've got an accountant who might be able to help out.
Well, I'm sure the accountant.
But it could still be a tricky old trail.
Well,
couldn't
it can. In fact, I am told from the report I looked at, £30 billion of digital items. This is another thing. This is another thing. You may have been in the process of purchasing something, or have a regular donation to something like a Christmas hamper fund or something like that.
Right.
But you're doing it electronically and nobody knows it. £30 billion worth of digital items bought via iTunes and Amazon could vanish when their owners die. Millions of families could also lose access to memories recorded by loved ones on social media such as Facebook and Twitter.
Because you don't have access to that either.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is...
But it's tricky, isn't it? Because you didn't necessarily want to give access to those accounts and those social media pages
No, exactly.
while you're still alive.
Exactly. It says the social media bit of it is only the tip of the iceberg. What about your online banking accounts and savings? The money then will go into the pot with other bank accounts. But the problem is that whoever is dealing with your assets might not even know they exist. And they're not going to get a paper statement through the post to alert them to your digital stash.
Yes.
But this is absolutely true.
Well, I know my sister had a problem with an Air Miles account.
Yes.
Because she and her husband, the guy I was telling you about
Yes,
earlier,
that's right,
used to travel quite a lot and they had a lot of Air Miles. And
Yeah.
so she wanted to get his Air Miles account, one, closed down and transferred over to her.
Right.
And she had to jump through loads of hoops to prove that he was dead.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't do it at first.
But the other thing is, of course, pictures. Now, I get irritated these days. I mean, all the pictures we took in Glasgow were all on phones.
Yeah.
So I've never seen any of them.
Right.
Well, people have sent them to me on Twitter and that kind of stuff. But I mean, I occasionally would like to update my collection of pictures at my home in frames with my family and all that kind of stuff. But it's so difficult to get a hard copy of a picture these days.
Well, now we know what to get you for Christmas.
Well, what's that?
Well, a framed picture of, one of the two Mike's shows or something.
Or a machine to turn my digital pictures into...
Or what you can do, as well,
Mm.
is you can either print them out yourself on a printer, or you can get one of those photo books done, which is quite good.
Yeah,
In
that's
fact, I was
right.
gonna get Emma to do one of
Somebody
those
sends
for the
you a
two
disc,
Mikes.
don't they? And you take it into somewhere, shop or somewhere.
Well, no,
they
you
put it
just
into
do
a
it all
book.
on. You just do it all online.
Online, do you?
And you actually make up basically a picture album, which you can then look at.
Yeah,
which would be good to do.
Yes,
I think.
Mm.
Don't you think?
Well, probably, but it all sounds very complicated to me.
Yes.
I know the world is a changing place, is it not?
The world is a changing place. Bob in Sheffield says, "Will you be doing a quiz on 2016 like you did on 2015 when Porky scored 0 out of 10?" By the way, he says your Rachel Hunter impression was hilarious.
My Rachel Hunter impression?
No, mine.
Did you do a Rachel Hunter impression?
Yeah, because I told you she rang my office once to do an interview with.
Oh,
one of the
that's
guys
right.
that I
Yeah, you
worked with.
did. Yeah.
She had a very high voice.
Yeah, I think that passed most people by. Actually,
I don't think it did. Well, Bob in Sheffield said it was very good.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're out of time almost already.
We certainly are.
The Postman Pork is coming up very shortly.
Yeah.
This is TalkSport. It's coming up to Christmas, and everybody needs an advent calendar. So here's one for you, Two Mike style.
Ho, ho, ho! The deaf don't use phones.
Well, so why is the dog telling you it's ringing?
Because somebody's trying to communicate with you, and you then pick up the communication device you have, which has special adaptive features to be able to communicate back with them.
Okay, all right.
Like a keyboard or something.
Yeah.
See
Well,
what
if
I
it's
mean?
got special adaptive features, you'd know when it was ringing.
No, you wouldn't.
Well, why wouldn't you? You'd get a new one then.
No, sometimes you
I
can...
think you're barking up the wrong tree.
No,
here.
I'm not. You can have a light flashing, but if you're watching Coronation Street and the phone device is behind you, you can't see the light flashing,
Well,
so the
you
dog
would-
tells you the light's
Well,
flashing.
don't put it behind you.
Well, where else are you going to put it?
In front of you.
Yeah, but the point is, that's all very well until you go into the kitchen to put your fish fingers in the oven, and then you can't see the phone flashing because it's in the other room.
No.
No, it's true.
It's a lot easier to bring it with you than buying a dog.
Ho, ho, ho!
Hey, hey, hey!
It's slightly confusing listening to some of these, isn't it?
It is a bit.
I'm not quite sure what the point of that
I'm
was.
sure people understand the purpose of them.
No.
Have
What
we...
do you mean, the purpose of the actual Advent?
Exactly,
well, no, they're
yeah.
clips from previous shows.
Yes, of course they
That's
are.
the
Yes,
point.
yes.
But what I'm saying is when you listen back to it, you wonder what on earth you were talking about.
You sometimes do.
Yeah.
Now, have we heard from Derek from Bencoeth lately?
We haven't heard, he was on last week, I believe.
The
I haven't,
bog cleaner?
I haven't heard from him this week.
Do you know why? Do you know why? Because they've just done a new survey in Wales.
Oh, yeah.
And do you know what they found out?
What have they found out?
There are 3 times as many sheep in Wales as people.
I'm surprised they didn't know that already.
Honestly, yeah, sheep outnumber people by 3 to 1 in Wales, okay?
Well, hence the all the sayings that are, not really repeatable on
Well,
radio.
I mean, we wouldn't even talk about that sort of thing on a family show like ours.
No.
But this is quite amazing. I didn't realise. Funnily enough, actually, I came home on the train from Scotland, right?
Yeah.
Came to the Lake District. I was amazed how many sheep there are in that part of the world.
Yes.
But
Well, there's not many people there either.
no, there's not many people there. But what I'm saying is the sheep spread out over valleys, hills, acres and acres of fields, and how the fell, is it, they're called fell farmers? In that,
They are, well, they are sort of the fells,
yeah,
aren't
the
they?
fells, yeah. How the farmers ever find these sheep and how they ever count them and know that they're theirs, I have no idea at all.
Well, they usually mark them, don't they?
You usually put a bit of dye on them or something like that.
some
But what
way,
I'm
shape, or
saying is,
form.
such vast areas. You see the sheep
But
going
the great
up
thing
mountains
is
and all
they
sorts
tend
of
to
things.
not. They all tend to flock together though, as well. It's not as if they're lone sheep.
They seem to be straggled out a bit to me. But anyway, this says a surge has seen almost 2 million more lambs in the valleys and mountains of Wales over in the last 7 years. New figures revealed a count of 9,810,000 sheep, compared with 3,026,000 people.
Right.
I mean, that is incredible.
It is incredible.
To say to suddenly find out there's 10 million sheep in Wales.
Yeah.
There are 10 million sheep in Wales.
That's the bicycle song, isn't it?
9,000, was it? 9 million
I think it's
bicycles
9
in
million,
Beijing. Yeah. 10
Which I always thought was a bit of an arbitrary
sheep.
number, to be
Yeah, I
honest.
did as well. But anyway, it's an annual census figures. I thought they only did census figures on humans. Didn't know they did them on sheep, but they do.
Well, I suppose they have to as well, because of the old husbandry issues.
However, don't get excited, because in the late 90s, there were 12 million sheep in Wales, okay?
Yeah.
So they're falling a bit behind.
Right.
Now,
Well, Welsh lamb is, of course, quite well known, isn't it? Quite
oh, very,
renowned.
very, very well known. Yeah, yeah. But John Richards of Haibu Sig Cymru.
Where?
Haibu Sig Cymru.
You mean Cymru? At the end?
Cymru, yeah. Haibu Sig Cymru,
Yeah.
which means the meat promoters of Wales.
Oh, yeah.
Said there are still challenges for Wales. Sorry, what's your problem?
Well, it's a bizarre name.
Why?
The meat what of Wales?
Meat promoters
The
of
meat
Wales.
promoters of
yeah,
Wales.
promoting.
So what do you do? I'm a meat promoter.
Yeah, you promote Welsh lamb. He said there are still challenges for Wales lamb industry. Political uncertainties around Brexit also mean that it's difficult to predict how future support payments and trade arrangements will affect livestock numbers.
Is that meant to be Welsh?
Yeah, of course it's Welsh. Yeah. I speak
mean,
Welsh
people
because I used to go to school in a school that was built halfway in Wales and halfway
What,
in England.
you went to a Welsh school?
No, the King's School Chester was built across the border between Wales and England.
You never said that before.
It's down.
Well, is half of it still in Wales then?
Yeah, because it's down the road called the
Really?
Wrexham Road. And
Really?
Wrexham is the capital of North Wales.
Well, I
yeah.
know that.
Yeah,
Well, it's not the capital of Wales.
capital of North Wales. I said.
Well, North Wales doesn't have a
It
capital.
does. It's a distinct
No, it
country to
doesn't.
South Wales. It is.
No, it's not.
Cardiff's the
Wales-
capital of South Wales,
No.
and Wrexham's the capital of
No,
North
Cardiff
Wales.
is the capital of Wales.
Yeah, well, but I mean, you know what I'm saying. I mean, there's an acceptance of.
Well, you might as well say
of
that
Wrexham's position in the North
Manchester-
Wales economy.
You might as well say Manchester's the capital of Northern England.
Well, it's not actually. I think Leeds probably is.
Yeah, but it's not. Nothing is. It's
Well,
London is the
you-
capital of Great Britain.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking
Right.
about. You know what I'm talking about.
And Edinburgh is the capital of Scotland.
Yeah.
Cardiff is the capital of Wales.
Oh, God,
And
the
there aren't
capital of
any
Wales.
bits in between.
Yeah. Well, you may or may not be right about that, but I do find that an astonishing figure to
Yeah.
think that there are that many sheep floating around. Man,
Yeah.
you see a lot of sheep.
Did you see
in
many
Wales.
black sheep when you were on your
No, I didn't
travels?
see any black sheep at all.
Really? Because I always like looking out for them. Because there always
Yeah,
are.
are there?
Yeah, there always are. Of
I've
course.
noticed
Where do you
that.
think the
Really?
term black sheep in the family
No,
comes
I haven't.
from?
I've never
Well,
noticed
you've never
that.
seen a black sheep.
I don't think I have actually.
Really?
I mean, I've never really been looking out for them, but I'm not sure I have.
I always like to try and work out the ratio. Because some
Well,
flocks.
the ratio's about 1 in a million, isn't it?
Well, no.
That's why a person who's wayward is called the black sheep of the family.
No.
Because of course they're
No, it's far
they're
more
so rare.
No,
you know.
it's far more sort of randomly occurring than that. Because, for example, when I look at a field full of sheep, you usually see at least one black sheep.
Really?
In every field.
Well, you say that. Now, listen, I'll tell you what we were going to talk about, and we
I
haven't
don't know.
yet so far.
Yes.
And you claimed that you've actually been rescued by
I
him.
have.
The Heimlich manoeuvre.
That's right.
Now, Heimlich, the guy who invented the Heimlich manoeuvre,
Yeah.
funny enough.
Was he a doctor?
No, he was...
Not Dr. Heimlich?
He might have been, but... by the way, Michael Nicholson died, the ITN
Yes.
foreign correspondent. I was
Yes.
very sad that.
It was sad.
I
He came
met
to
him
fame.
a couple of times.
Yes, I did too. Great
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
And also, do you remember he rescued an orphan, did he not?
Yeah, an orphan child.
From Eastern Europe. Was it Romania?
Smuggled them back into this country,
Yeah.
Bosnia.
Bosnia.
It was from Bosnia, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and smuggled them to go back in this country, and then got permission to look after her.
And did he adopted her sort of officially, didn't he?
He adopted her officially, yeah, became his child.
Yeah.
Now then, old Henry Heimlich, right,
Yeah.
the Heimlich manoeuvre. I mean, when did this suddenly come to prominence? About 10 years ago?
No.
20 years
The
ago?
Heimlich manoeuvre has been, as far as I know, something that people have known about for at least 50 years.
Yes.
I mean, certainly I've known about it all my life.
Yes.
Haven't you?
No.
No?
I only became aware of it in my adult years. I didn't know it existed.
Yeah, but I mean, in your adult years, you've been an adult for quite a long time.
Well, you say that. Now,
Well, it's true.
it
What do you
says...
mean I say that?
Well, it says here, thousands of lives have been saved by the introduction of the Heimlich manoeuvre.
Yeah.
First described in 1974.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have been all your life, could it?
Well, it's practically all my life. I mean,
Yeah.
I was 14 in 1974, so if I became aware of it then, that is most of my life, isn't it?
Anyway, the idea first came to Heimlich. He's died, by the way. That's why we're talking about
All
him.
right, okay.
And he's described as a maverick surgeon. Okay.
Where was he from? So he was a doctor, right?
He was from Cincinnati.
Okay.
And he was a surgeon.
Right.
Now, it says the idea first came to Heimlich when he was director of surgery at a hospital in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
He'd read a magazine article that identified choking as America's 6th biggest cause of death. So he began experimenting on anaesthetised beagles.
Right.
Right?
Beagles?
Yeah, I don't know why he had to go around giving anaesthetic to beagles, but
Well,
he
I guess
did.
beagles for a long time have been the sort of dogs that you experiment on, unfortunately.
God, this doesn't sound very good. He would block the throat of the beagle with a balloon and test
Blow
ways...
what?
A balloon.
A balloon?
A balloon,
Right.
yeah, like you blow up.
Yeah.
And test ways of removing the obstruction.
Uh-huh.
The next year described what he called as his subdiaphragmatic pressure technique in the journal Emergency Medicine.
Right.
And the
Is
editors...
that not one you get, then?
Yeah, that's one of my journals,
Emergency Medicine.
And the editors of the Journal of the American Medical Association soon renamed it the Heimlich Manoeuvre.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's got. You mentioned earlier on when we were talking to Jason Cundy that his sort of system has supposedly saved millions and millions of lives.
Didn't you say yours has been saved?
Mine was.
Well, you've got to explain this to us,
Well,
then,
I
'cause
was
I don't
having
believe
lunch.
this.
This is a long time ago, right?
Where were you
I was
having
having
lunch?
It was in London, but it was a few years
Right,
ago.
which restaurant was it?
I'm not telling you. There are certain aspects of this story which will remain nameless.
Oh.
Because I don't want to give away all the secrets of my life to you.
You were
okay?
misbehaving at the time, then?
Well, not necessarily. No, that's not.
Oh, I think almost... absolutely,
Well,
yeah.
all I can say
Yeah,
to you is,
yes.
right, that I was having lunch.
Yeah.
And
With a woman who was not your wife at the time.
That's right.
Right,
Yeah.
I see.
I didn't have a wife
Another
at the time.
disgusting...
No, I didn't. I was divorced, actually. I didn't have a wife.
Yeah, you weren't.
Anyway, I was
Yeah.
quite happily sitting there eating,
were
but I had a bit of
playing
a
away from
cold.
home.
But
Yeah.
I had a bit of a cold at
Oh, a
the
bit
time,
of a
right?
cold, yeah.
So my nose was a bit blocked, right?
Your nose was a bit
and
blocked,
I was
is it?
eating. What are you just going to repeat everything I say?
No, go on. go
And
on.
so I was eating a bit of steak, I believe it was, or something
Oh,
similar.
you can't remember what you nearly choked on?
I can't remember. Well, I'll tell you what I can't remember is what cut it was, right? I can't remember if it was prime rib or a bit of steak.
Right,
That's
okay.
why I'm trying to be as exact
So why
as I
did you
can.
stuff it down your larynx
many
instead
years
of
ago.
your
Well,
throat?
Well, I didn't stuff it down my larynx, but I chewed it and I went to swallow it. And you
Yeah.
know how sometimes when you have a piece of steak which is slightly too big, but you can usually swallow it anyway.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, but it stuck for some reason. I don't know
Right.
why. It's never done it before or
Yeah.
since, but it stuck
Yeah.
right at the back of my throat.
No, you see, it didn't, because if it's stuck at the back of your throat, you're okay. It's when it gets into your larynx and starts blocking your lungs.
I could feel it at the front of
Right.
my throat. Anyway, I
Okay.
suddenly realised I couldn't breathe. Just, I mean, it was a
Can be
split
a
second.
problem.
It was a split second
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought, not a problem. I'll just take a glass of water,
Yes.
and knock it back,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
I took the glass of water,
Yeah.
and instead of it knocking it back,
Yeah.
all that happened was it produced a sort of a cough from me, and the water came straight back out again.
You could have been forcing it further into your larynx.
Well, all I know is that the water didn't go down,
Right.
and it didn't dislodge the
so
piece
you're
of
making
meat.
quite a mess of
So
yourself
I've
at this
now,
table.
I'm now realised I'm actually in trouble. I can't breathe through my nose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this thing is blocking my throat. And luckily, the woman that I was with was
Yes.
quick-witted enough to
Yes.
say to just grab me. She just grabbed me literally, put her arms around me, stuck
Yeah.
her fist underneath my solar plexus,
Yeah.
and pop, it came out.
Really?
Yeah. And she saved my life.
Saved your life, eh?
Yeah.
Bet she regrets that now.
She does actually.
Yeah, I'm sure she does. Yeah. I see. And what was your
She kept
immediate...
playing it back to me for years as well.
Yeah, and what was your immediate reaction afterwards? Did you feel...
Well, I was embarrassed.
I've cheated death and all this kind of stuff.
Well, I was shocked. Yeah.
You were dying,
I
weren't
mean,
you?
literally, because it was a split-second thought.
Yeah.
But I thought, I'm actually dying here.
You know Richard in Richard and Judy?
Yeah.
He wrote a piece about it about
Did
a
he?
year ago, I think, saying
Yeah.
it happened to him when he was
Right.
having a bit of steak, and
Yeah.
suddenly somebody leapt up and grabbed him.
And it's,
bang.
I suppose like many of these
Yes.
things, it's so it's split second. It happens in a split second.
Yes.
And I remember thinking to myself,
Yeah.
you know, I could have died if I'd been on my own or if
Yeah.
I'd been with somebody who didn't know how to do that.
Well, that's the problem.
I
you
could have
see.
died.
Could have died,
And
yeah.
I was embarrassed because it's quite a nice restaurant. I looked across at this table that was having a party of one
Yes.
kind or another.
Yes.
And I just said, look, I'm terribly sorry. They really felt sorry for me. They were like, no, are you sure you're
Right,
okay?
you looked like you were
Do you want
dying.
us to call a doctor or anything?
Quite a few people wish that you had, actually.
There are a lot of people that wish I
yeah,
died,
yeah,
but, luckily not many of them are left now.
Sometimes I'm one of them.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
That's not very nice.
Yeah.
Charming.
Yeah.
This is Talk Sport.
Hello, this is Tim Vine on Talk Sport. It's Mike Parry's Postbag. I can't wait to see what's in there.
Postman Pork, Postman Pork, Postman Pork, how he loves to talk about his sister's awning, so very, very boring. He fills the airwaves with his useless facts. Is that me?
I don't remember that one.
I don't remember that one either. What happened to my theme tune for Postman Pork?
Well, apparently you did this one last week.
Did I?
Yeah.
Last week?
Yeah.
I must have been bladderated.
Really?
I don't remember that.
Well, what were you doing bladderated at work?
I don't know.
Surely not.
Yeah, I
well,
hope
maybe
not,
there's
no.
more than one version, because I remember on the other one which ends up with you singing a really high note.
Yes. Yeah, well,
you must have more than one version.
One's about the fork. Anyway,
you've
let's
got
open
your
some,
you've got your postbag.
Here we
there.
go. Here we go.
Let's open them.
Right.
They might all be Christmas cards. I'm not sure.
Anyway, here's the first one. It's addressed to the two mics,
Okay.
Talk Sport Radio.
Yeah.
I've opened it here now. Let me just pull out and see what we've got in here. Right, okay. Now we've got quite a lot here, actually.
Oh, really?
It's
Oh, really?
a bag full of stuff. Right, here we go.
Go on.
So, this is right. First of all, this comes from Nottingham.
Yes.
Dear Porky, I've compiled some nostalgia for you and your colleague, MG.
Yes.
Some of the songs are not on the playlist of radio stations or even played. TalkSport is a professional radio station giving you the insight to all sports. Excellent. Full marks to Mr. Parry on the... I'm sure what that says. Full marks to Mr. Parry on the quizzes.
Well, you don't get full marks normally.
No, it says, OK, low scores sometimes, but to have knowledge on these subjects is definitely a plus.
Yeah.
Extensive knowledge, well done. This comes from Roger. He says, birthday greetings to Mr. Parry on December the 28th, which is not my birthday, Roger, but thank you very much indeed for your birthday wishes. Well, it's not on the 28th of December, believe me.
All right.
He says, I used to work in my local radio station, Radio Trent, and weekends on the sports section with the late Brian Tansley.
Who's he?
I don't know. A true professional, though, apparently.
Okay.
I love radio in preference to the Goggle Box. Hope you both enjoy the material I've sent. So,
what's he sent? Is it like a Christmas present?
Well, I'm going to open this brown envelope that came along with it, and I open this, and here we go. And inside is a number. I have to say, there's 4 DVD discs.
Really?
Yeah. And I have to say, it's very extensive work done here.
What's this guy's name? That sent them?
Roger.
Roger.
And it says The Life of John Lennon is one.
Right.
But it does say contains adult material. Some of those. Call the Cops plus music and various TV clips.
What are these? So these are DVDs?
These are DVDs.
All right.
The Blue Lamp, which is a film from 1949. Dixon of Dock Green episodes.
Okay.
And Eric Burden.
Eric Burden and the Animals. You'll enjoy watching all these.
Well, Eric Burden and the Animals, Eric Burden's famous quote was, beer and acid will save the world.
Yes.
You know, and that's all, beer and acid.
Yeah.
Dead Man's Curve, the story of Jan Berry.
Jan Berry?
Dean Torrance,
Who's he?
Also features Wolfman Jack, a 1978 film.
Yeah.
And
he was in American Graffiti, wasn't he?
Oh, was he?
Wolfman Jack.
And the John Lennon story. So I have to say, thank you.
Well, there's a lot of hours and hours of entertainment there.
Yeah, well, there's
from Roger.
Certainly is, Roger. And I tell you what, that will take a big part of my Christmas viewing, obviously.
I'm sure.
That's great.
Good.
Right. Now then.
Makes a change from watching The Wizard of Oz again.
Well, it certainly does. Now, here's a card to open here. Let me just put this one here. That's it. Right.
Just to the two mics?
This is addressed to me, to Mike Graham.
Oh.
Sorry.
Me,
No, to Mike Parry. Sorry.
You just said Mike Graham.
Yeah, I know, I got confused. Support for you, confusing me. So this is a cartoon card. This is also from Roger, same man who sent it. Yeah, he sent the card.
We just opened one thing.
Yeah, it's all in here.
Well, what does his Christmas card say?
Well, I'm just about to read it to you. On the front, there's a refuse collector, and he's saying to a householder...
Binman.
A binman. That's it's true. It's true. And he's saying, "Where's your bin, mate?" And the householder says, "I've been down the gym." And then the binman says, "No, where's your wheelie bin?" "Okay, I've wheelie bin in the pub, but don't tell the wife." So, you know. So that again is from Rod. Rod, thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
Yeah, the old jokes are the best ones.
Yeah.
Right, now the
Why
next...
has he sent a card to me, by the way?
Eh?
Has he not sent a card to me?
No.
It's nice.
No, I haven't
Maybe he
seen
wishes
one
I
anyway.
was dead as well.
Right, now the next one, this is quite spectacular.
Yeah.
It shows a picture of a fine, upstanding British person with a sort of RAF suit on. It says, he was called a hero, a revolution, an inspiration. You see this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was even called the greatest man since Gandhi.
Was he?
Do you know his name?
No.
And then I turn it over, and it says, again, he was called a hero, revolution, inspiration. He was even called the greatest man since Gandhi. Do you know his name? Answer, Porky Parry.
What?
It says the answer is Porky Parry.
Has this bloke lost his mind?
Well, now I'm going to open it now. So, because it's all sealed
This is
up.
not all from the same person, is it?
No, this is from somebody else.
All right.
It's all sealed up in sellotape.
Well, so that's the outside of the envelope.
It's inside the envelope.
I'm surprised
yeah.
it got here.
Well, it did get here. Look, it's got an address on it.
It looks like one of those old sort of the posters that's been made up with a new kind of colour. They've coloured it up or something.
It says Porky Parry, Talksport Radio, 18 Hatfields, London, SC18DJ, which is the address.
Which by coincidence is exactly where you should send anything you want to be read out on Postman Pork.
That's right. And I just go inside. Right, inside it says, "Dear Mike, good show. I have seen the final Premier placings for 16-17. Please break it gently to everybody. Everton finished 9th. Best wishes." And this come. I don't know. This comes. I don't know. It says best wishes from the third Mike.
Oh yeah.
So maybe it's somebody called Mike.
I think it would be.
But it says
so
on
that's to both of us then.
What?
That's to both of us.
It's no, I think it's to me. But the problem is, he scribbled this on what's clearly a letter from his energy company, which says you could be missing out on around £200 a year by not switching energy tariff or supplier.
Well, so he's written you a note on the back of a bill.
On the back of a bill.
Maybe he expects you to pay the bill.
To switch, look at your latest energy bill. Anyway, I want to say thank you very much indeed. That's something right. Now, I've got one here which I will read out because, and I'm not sure I've read it out before, it is in fact from one of our favourite correspondents, Rebecca, back in New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
Dear Porky, Tena Kutu. Merry, have I read this before?
Tena Kutu?
Yeah, Merry Giringamiti, Managa, Makike, Ocha Chawa, Hohoke, Katoa. And this is written in Maori.
It's Maori, yeah.
Or in English, hello.
That sounds quite right. It sounds like it should sound like that.
Yeah. Or in English, hello, Merry Christmas and a successful New Year.
Yeah.
Please accept this bottle of New Zealand wine as a token of my thanks for keeping me entertained throughout the year. We did get a bottle of wine. We did, yeah. But the card has only just surfaced, so thank you, Becky.
Okay.
You are a great guy, she's talking to me.
Is she?
Yeah, this is a...
You sure this is not to both of us?
No. It says...
Why can't you'll get all the posts?
Can you see, Dear Porky?
Yeah, I can see that,
Porky, yeah. You're a great guy, and I know sometimes I give you stick on Twitter, but I admire your work, and you... Sorry, I admire you... I admire you greatly, it says.
Does it?
I never mean to offend. Have a great 2017, and see you when you come to New Zealand. Morena, which is Maori for Rebecca. Rebecca in New Zealand.
Okay.
So that's very kind of you, Becky.
That is nice.
Thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
Now
any
then.
more?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's loads more here. Right, here's one addressed here to the Porkmeister. It's in a red envelope. I'll just open it here, see what it's got
Very
inside.
good, this authentic letter opening business.
Oh, yeah, we like this, yeah. Right.
We should get you a letter opener, do you think?
What? No.
You know.
Right, now this is a Christmas card.
Yeah.
Christmas wishes from Blidworth.
Blidworth?
Wherever Blidworth
Where's
is.
that?
I don't know. I've never heard of Blidworth.
Is it a company?
And it says, Dear Porky, may I take a moment just to say... We, that's myself and my wife, think your show on TalkSport is the best show on radio. We giggle and listen to every word. Really entertaining. Thanks, Charlie and Michaela Bradley.
And is this just to you?
Just to me. And
when they say your show on TalkSport,
yes.
So they don't mean the Two Mike show?
Don't know. It says your show on TalkSport, doesn't it? Have a really special...
Blidworth is
Christmas.
near Mansfield.
Oh, is it? Your happiest New Year too. Knowing the fondest thoughts are always there with you. Happy Christmas. Well, thank you very much indeed.
Very nice.
That's very, very nice of you and very kind of you. Let's open a few more and see what it says here. This is here. This is one here. This one.
There's less than 5,000 people living in Blidworth.
Yeah. Right.
Did you know that?
What?
Less than 5,000 people live in Blidworth.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, some villages and hamlets only have 50 people. Right, I'm opening this one. because this is addressed to... it's addressed to TalkSport for the attention of Postman Pork.
Oh, yeah.
That's me, right.
Yeah, okay.
Now, this comes from a guy who works for Kia.
Kia?
They're the car people.
Oh, yeah.
By the look of it.
Didn't they used to sponsor England or something?
No, not Kia, no.
They sponsored somebody.
They did, but it wasn't England. Right, dear Postman Pork, it is an honour to be able to write to you and a pal of a truly inspirational... and be a part of a truly inspirational part of the show. Please find on the back of this slip a list of honours won by Everton in the last 20 years. Regards, Paul. See you legends in Glasgow on Saturday.
Oh, right.
So this has only just come in.
Yeah.
This guy's name is Fiskin Kia. So I don't
What?
know whether he's part of the Kia family or something.
Are you sure that's not like a Gaelic name?
No, it says directors.
Fiskin Kia?
Yeah, no, seriously.
Fiskin.
Seriously.
Well, what does Fiskin mean? It's not a name, is it?
It is a name.
Fiskin.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, definitely. No, I tell you what it is. This is from two people called D.I. Fiskin,
Right.
not Detective Inspector, but D.I.
Right. How do you know?
Well, because it says directors D.I. Fiskin. It doesn't sound like a copper to me.
D.I. It sounds like Snake Plissken.
No, and V.F. Fiskin, and
VF.
then the company's called Fiskin Kia, so they've clearly got some sort of franchise.
Oh, so they're
with
two
Kia
brothers
cars,
who own
yeah.
a Kia place.
Yeah, that looks... Oh, here are the Fiskin Motor Group.
There
I'll
you
tell
go.
you where they're from.
Yeah.
Queenswell Road, Forfar
Forfar.
in Tayside.
There you go.
By the way, I saw in...
Did we meet the guy that came all the way from Kuwait, by the way? We did, didn't we?
Did we?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we did,
Scott,
yeah.
his name was, right?
Scott, right, okay. Now, there's another one here. It says Porky Parry,
We're running out of time now.
head of the late night team. Well, I'm not just head of the late night team, you know what I mean.
Head of the late night
Yeah.
team.
Right, it says Berry Christmas as opposed to Merry. And it says to Ian, Kath and Ed.
Ian?
Yeah,
Ian who?
I've no idea. And...
This is not, you sure this is not sent to the wrong
don't know.
show? Isn't that Ian Lee?
Don't know.
It's Ian Lee's Christmas card you wrote.
Nah, I mean,
Because
ridiculous.
Cass is his producer.
Is she?
Yeah.
Anyway, it says
See her every night.
love from Ribena Rosie.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
You think you should give that one to Ian Lee?
Well, I don't know, really. I mean,
Well,
there's
that's who it's meant for.
Picture of the lady, Ribena Rosie. It's rather nice, isn't
You
it?
like
yeah?
her?
Yeah, that's good.
Right.
Right, just a couple more here quickly.
Right, one
Just-
more, I
yeah,
think we're allowed.
Okay, right. Two mics here. I'll just open this and see what it says inside. Let me have a look.
You sure this is addressed to you?
Definitely addressed to me.
Yeah.
It says to Mike, and then in brackets, and Mike, so you're included in
Oh,
this
great.
one.
Fantastic.
Thanks for making me laugh so much this year. I hope it continues through 2017. Wish you both very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Peter in Helsinki.
In Helsinki, brilliant.
Helsinki.
That's lovely.
Yeah,
We
that's
haven't had
great.
one from there before.
We haven't had one. Oh, Suomi, Finland. I should have known it would come from
Suomi.
Helsinki. It's got a Finnish stamp on the front.
Yeah.
It says, to cut a very long story short, I came over to Finland in September 1980 on the train.
How did he do that?
It took me 66 hours from Liverpool. 66 hours on a train. That's a hell of a long way.
Was there a Channel Tunnel in those days?
No. He says, to watch the European Cup game.
So how did he get there by train?
Well, I suppose you get the boat train over to the continent
Yeah.
and then go round up through Holland or something.
Right.
I was 17. What an adventure. No cheap airlines in those days, even with the train, cost me the equivalent of 5 weeks' pay.
How long it took him 66 days to get there?
Yeah, 66 days. I used to live on the Wirral for the next 10 years, then moved over here. The wife is now the ex-wife, but life goes on. I'm a bus driver.
In Finland?
What, in Finland, yeah.
Right.
And start work every morning with you through the night show. It keeps me going.
Fantastic.
Especially on Talk Sport.
Right.
I'd love a signed pic of you both, please, although I appreciate that might not be the done thing.
Yeah.
And that comes from Peter O'Brien,
Yeah.
who lives in Samuel
You
Kalionti
don't have to give his whole address away.
in Finland. All
Yeah.
the best. Well, that's very nice.
Well done, Peter.
Fancy
Peter?
leaving Liverpool or leaving the Wirral and going to Finland and making a life for yourself.
Well, why not?
That's a
People
pretty
do it
good
all the
idea.
time.
Well done.
Very good
Well
idea.
done, yeah.
That was, of course, Postman Pork.
Okay.
There will be another one very, very shortly, possibly a special edition on Christmas Eve on the warm-up show on Saturday. This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
But baby, you and I are not the same. You say you like the sun, I like the rain. So before we go, do it
are the two mics. There will, of course, be a podcast coming out a little bit later. The Carolina-Washington game is now 23-9 in the third quarter. 3 minutes left to go. Looks like Carolina are doing the business there, which looks very good. Now, a couple of things to read out to you. Lord Rallo says this. There's a lot of people who wish you died. Sometimes I'm one of them. Good to see Porky's in the holiday spirit, he says. David says, we have so many sheep in Wales. Why on earth do we still import lamb from New Zealand?
Yeah,
probably because it's cheaper.
Well, it may be cheaper, but I'm really not sure.
Yeah. Now, William has also sent a story attached, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
There's been another one of these episodes of fish washing up on a beach.
Oh, yes.
Down in Cornwall.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
2 weeks after the first one, which was near St Austell, a couple of weeks ago, about 40 miles away, they've now stranded themselves on Merseyside beach, which is near Penzance.
Oh, right.
Right in front of St Michael's Mount.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've been out in a boat and circled round that whilst I was seal hunting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Seal hunting?
Well, seal spotting, not hunting. I wasn't shooting them.
What's a bit of a difference?
Yeah, there is. Yeah. Seal spotting. Yeah.
You either go seal spotting or seal hunting.
No. Seal
Did you
spotting.
spot any?
Yeah, spotted loads, bobbing around. They're very hard to see because they're the same colour as the water, and the heads just bob up and down. You don't tell it's them because they've got eyes. You know?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Now, it says the last time it was mostly mackerel, wasn't it? This time it's sardines and other small fish.
Oh, well, they've probably been chased ashore by bigger beasts or something.
Because remember we spoke to Keith Arthur about it. He wasn't absolutely sure what it could be.
Yes.
But a witness who's called Katrina said, I've never seen anything like it. It was like the waves were made of fish.
Waves are made of fish?
Katrina and the Waves.
Katrina and the Waves, I see what you mean, yes.
Sam says Kia sponsor the Oval.
Hey?
I know they sponsor the Oval.
That's right, yeah.
But I'm pretty certain that I saw the England coach. I know they're sponsored by Vauxhall. And I'm sure I've seen Kia associated in some way with England.
Maybe in the past or something. Are you sure not rugby or something like that?
No, it's definitely football.
Okay.
Definitely football.
Did you know that Trappist monks are allowed to speak?
I didn't know that. What, all the time?
Yeah, the Trappist vow of silence.
So all the jokes about the vow of silence?
Yeah, it's all a myth.
They're not true?
It's all a myth.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that might mean that if people were put off because they didn't want to speak.
Well, the Trappists are not really Trappists, they're Benedictines.
Right.
And
what's the difference?
Well, they were established in 910 by the Cluniacs. But
Who?
The Cluniacs.
Are they people like George Clooney?
No, they're an order of monks who've been around
The Cluniacs?
since the first millennium.
I've never heard of them.
The Cluniacs
How do you spell
were
it?
the predecessors of the Carthusians.
Okay. See, the Carthusians I've heard of.
Yeah.
I've never heard of the Cluniacs.
Who then morphed into the Cistercians in about 1098. I've been studying all this.
I think I've heard of.
Studying all this. Yeah.
When you say they morphed into, what do you mean?
Well, they kind of developed, didn't they, into better and better orders, yes. Now, of course, St. Benedict led all this lot, so his original rule was that in a spirit of fairness, moderation, that's like bladderation, and consideration, which is also part of the bladderation code, each new order became more rigid and extreme in its interpretation of regulations. The silence rule says you're not allowed to have a beard.
You're not allowed to have a beard?
No.
But you can speak?
Well, the problem is they reckon that beards might hide the movement of your lips.
I see.
So you had to take your beard off.
But I thought if you could speak anyway, what difference does it make?
Well, they're not sure if they could speak or not. It's just that, in emergencies you're allowed to sort of shout out, if you were being attacked or something.
Right.
Benedictines took the view... Sorry, what's your problem?
Why would you be attacked if you're a Trappist?
Well, you might be attacked by some mad peasant or something after your food or something like that.
These are guys that were setting fire to themselves in Nepal.
No.
Were worried about or Tibet rather?
No.
Tibet.
No, these are Trappist.
No, but they were demonstrating about the Chinese invading the country.
No, they did that years ago. They're all setting fire to themselves in the streets of Peking, weren't they?
No, but they also did it in Tibet.
In Tibet they did it as well, I think. Yeah, but Trappists aren't in Tibet. Trappists are, elsewhere.
Where are
they? Hey?
Where?
I think they lived for a while on Corsica, didn't they? Didn't they? The Trappists? I think so.
Why Corsica?
I don't know. But they're like islands, apparently. Yeah. Anyway...
Must be because they're more easy to hide in islands.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
Now then, it says...
I thought you'd been studying this.
Yes, I have. Chapter 6 of the Rule of Silence recommended moderation. It keeps coming in, this moderation. Perhaps they're all bladderators.
Yeah,
'cause
maybe. It's the wine, isn't it?
They do. All these monks, they brew these really potent sort of potions, don't they?
Do you know I worked for an editor once who was briefly a monk?
Oh, yes.
And he used to be known for being they used to call him the monk, right? You
Right.
probably know who I mean.
Right.
But he told me that he gave up. He had to give it up. And I said, why was that? And he said, I couldn't stand the celibacy part of it.
Right, okay.
Because he was a bit of a mass Roger. He couldn't remain celibate.
Well, okay, that's good for him.
And
At least he
had
didn't
an
become
affair-
a corrupt monk.
No, he had because he started to have a bit of a thing for one of the nuns.
Oh, really?
Apparently, yeah.
Oh, right.
And they
okay.
started to get up to things that they weren't supposed to be getting up to.
What, the nun was receptive?
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
What do you mean, don't believe it?
Well, I mean...
What do you know about nuns?
Well, actually, funny enough...
I was taught by nuns in my primary school.
Oh, you were you? Yes, okay, that's good. Now, do you remember our old colleague, Norman Luck?
Yes.
Norman Luck was a colleague, actually. Of
now deceased.
Yeah, now deceased, unfortunately. But he was a colleague of the fantasist, the guy we talked about last night, Brian Cashinella.
Yeah, who is now dead.
Who is now dead, unfortunately, yeah. And,
you don't think he's faked his own death, do you?
No, he hasn't faked his own death, but he was a fantasist. He used to imagine he had villas in Spain and all sorts of things. But anyway, Norman... who was a cheery guy. Yeah, cheery guy.
He was,
and quite successful.
Did he not run a whole a sort of chain of old people's homes?
Yeah, he did at one stage, but that was because he was Rogerising the matron of one of the homes.
Yeah, but it was a big business he had on the side.
Yeah, but you see, it allowed him to, on his way home every night, he had to call in at the old people's home to make sure everything was all right.
Oh, okay.
But in fact, he was involved in horizontal refreshment with the matron. But yeah, he did for a while.
Shocking.
But the other thing Norman did was he was a very smart guy. He decided.
Norman's still alive.
Hey,
is he still alive?
No.
He died, didn't he?
Do you know what he died of?
No.
He kind of broke his leg by stepping into a pothole.
Right.
And had to have it fixed.
Right.
But then he got an infection in it and died of a broken leg.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. It's very weird,
That's
isn't
very
it?
unfortunate.
But, no, what I was going to say was, decided that he would volunteer to write a DIY column for the Daily Express, the paper we worked on. Well, if you ever went to his house, about 5 years later, every part of the house had been renovated by somebody who
he promised to write about.
Awnings, or put new windows in, or put new showers in, or patios, or garage doors, which operated automatically with a button from down the street when you were driving your car in, or spotlights outside. Or, I mean, new front doors, you just name it. Norm managed to completely rebuild his house through freebies on
I
the
suppose
DIY
in fairness,
column.
he had to test things out. So why not test them out in his own house?
Yeah, absolutely. Why did we get talking about Norman, Billy?
You were talking about Trappist monks.
Oh, Trappist monks. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, he came in one day. So I've got this fantastic story. He said, "What is it?" He said, "I found a woman of the night who used to be a nun."
Oh yeah.
And eventually, to extract the story from, we said, "Well, how did you find her?" He said, "Well, I was sort of in the same room as her, and I saw a picture on the wall." Right. And, in a bit of horizontal refreshment, I sort of said, "Who's that? Why have you got a picture of a nun on the wall?" She said, "That's me." He said, "What?"
Right.
She said, "Yeah, I used to be a nun, but I'm not now because I didn't like being a nun because I couldn't do this."
Did she dress up in the gear?
No. She literally had a picture of it to remember of her former life.
I see.
When she was sinning in her current life. Yeah.
How bizarre.
It was very bizarre.
Well, so did you do the story in the paper?
Well, what happened was, you see...
It's not really very Daily Express, that, is it?
Well...
A bit down market.
See, funny enough, Norm was also quite clever. It wasn't very Daily Express, and they didn't want to use it, so he flogged it to me, because I was working at another newspaper at the time.
Oh, were you?
And he gave me the address for £1,000.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So did you get stitch her up in there, then?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Marvellous.
Yes.
What a charming story for Christmas.
Indeed.
David says this, was Napoleon a Trappist monk? I think he's making a reference to Corsica.
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, he ended up in St Helena, didn't it? The place where they can't build the airport anymore.
That's right.
Except, funny enough, there's a letter in one of the newspapers this morning from a chap who runs a civil aviation company somewhere in the southeast of England, Surrey, who says, "I've flown planes in and out of there on many an occasion. I know how to do it."
Okay.
And wants the licence to go and do it.
There we are. More on that, I'm sure, on the show tomorrow. We're out of time, though, to talk sport.
Look at the light!
Don't forget to follow the Two Mics at the Two Mics on Twitter and on YouTube. Just look for Two Mics TV.
In the 7 decades since Arnold's sighting, thousands of people, most of them rural Americans, have been haunted by variations on hovering crockery, peopled with slender green men.
Hovering crockery.
Well, crockery as in saucer, flying saucer, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
2% of all US citizens claim to have been abducted by aliens.
Well, 2% of 365 million is quite a lot of people.
That's 5 million people.
Yeah.
5 million
Well,
people.
you said there was a few dozen.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's
I
5
didn't
million.
realise there's so many wackos in the
That's
world.
what I'm saying. 5 million. I thought somebody would abduct you.
People make money out of soft porn, but, you know, you don't admit to buying it, do you? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't buy soft porn.
Well, I don't buy soft porn either, so that's
I buy
why I
hard
don't
porn.
admit to...
No, so I don't buy any porn.
No.
The point is that these people
It's
have
a
come
family
up.
show, this,
No,
you know, yeah.
you don't have to buy porn
Yeah,
anymore.
throwaway
You don't have to
lines
buy
like
it,
that,
okay?
you know? Yeah.
It's out there on the internet if you wish to view it.
Yeah, that's what you
But
say.
obviously, I wouldn't want to tell you how because I don't know.
If you love the Two Mics podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.
There are still challenges for Wales lamb industry. Political uncertainties around Brexit also mean that it's difficult to predict how future support payments and trade arrangements will affect livestock numbers.